What's going on, fellow A plusers? It is I, your host, as always, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new episode of A Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news, right here over on our YouTube page, streaming live for you guys today over on YouTube, as well as Facebook and Twitch for you gamers out there, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much for certainly joining us here today. Some news to break for you guys here today. It is just me once again. So I am riding this train solo for you guys this afternoon. Was not able to get Indy or Stuart to be on today's show. So it is, in fact, going to be just myself around here. And hopefully we have ourselves a pretty decent show. Let's see here. What I would like to say, if anything, because of the fact that our channel continues to grow here, we're really trying to put very much a focus on the idea of just this one channel and A plus hero report. Listen, if you guys are content creators out there, if you are looking for an opportunity to maybe grow yourself as a content creator, if you feel you can communicate relatively well in regards to getting your point across, and you've thought about the idea of maybe lean in some YouTube stuff. Listen, guys, well, we definitely would love to bring you on in and allow you to become a part of our team, as we are in the process of bringing on other and new team members. There's a lot of things that I really want to be able to do here with A Plus Hero Report, and being able to do so, I certainly am going to need some people that are pretty committed in regards to it. And so we are, as a team, trying to continue to build what we certainly have around here. And there are a lot of things that we certainly would like to try and tackle. Whether that be movie reviews, whether that be Netflix series and things like that. We certainly would like to try and get that all together. Guys, my internet is like being a pain in the butt right now. And so let me see if I can go ahead and I forgot to actually connect my cable today, my Ethernet. We are doing this simply off of Wi-Fi right now. I do wonder if that has anything to do with the idea of let me turn my fan on. It's hot as fuck in here today. Guys, we'll see if this is any better today. I almost I wonder if this almost made mine even worse. Let me give some shout outs to some people that are definitely here today. We got Enrique Perez certainly in the house, followed closely by Mr. Francois Dupont. What's up, Francois? The most talented man in the world is here. I suck my own balls. What's up, buddy? We also got Chris Crossman in the house. Jericho certainly coming through. Adam Perea here. We got Carlo Bernardo, good old Michael Rhymes, John Schuyler's in the house. Kurt Marino's here today with us today. We got Kurt Matthews, good old Jack Daniels is here today. Morgan, what's up, Morgan? Good to certainly see you around these parts, along with Nicole. Good to certainly see you here also. Abase certainly in the house. We got Tarek as well, certainly coming through, and good old Marcelino Vasquez. Turbo Stew is here, but not in person. We got Datilla. We got Ram Jam as well. What's up, guys? It's good to see everybody, all the love that we certainly have here today, man. So thank you very much, everybody, for certainly coming through. So yeah, since the top of the show, this was acting up. Let me go ahead and do this again. So here at A Plus Hero Report, since we have in fact merged everything over from A Plus More Phenomenal and Hero Report, really the focus around here is to make this grow. We are on the road not only to 1K, but also to just creating something phenomenal here in regards to nerd pump culture. And so while it's just Stuart, myself, and Indy, you know, time in life does certainly get busy. We are looking to continue to expand and grow our team membership around here. So listen, if you have YouTube content creator experience, maybe you don't, but this is something you kind of would love to dive into if you feel like you are the type of person that can express themselves pretty well, get your point across pretty well also. we definitely would certainly love to have you reach out to us, and certainly hope to maybe bring you on board, whether that's in regards to movie reviews, whether that's in regards to just social media creators, or if you want to go ahead and be a social media manager for us. We definitely have some things that we can certainly find for you to definitely do in regards to helping grow A Plus Hero Report. So if you are interested in becoming a team member, if you feel like you can certainly help out in any way, we would definitely appreciate it. Because again, we do have a lot of content that's certainly coming out, and we just want to make sure that we have enough heads around here that can certainly come through when they need to in regards to providing reviews throughout the week, and or maybe on a weekly basis also. So yeah, guys, definitely go ahead and certainly let us know, as we are in the process of continuing to grow our channel around here. We have things on the Facebook side we could certainly use help with, things on the YouTube side as well. So yeah, this is just a little bit of a call for additional team members if you are in fact interested in being a part of the team in some way or capacity. But yeah, definitely go ahead and reach out to us. If you want to go ahead and reach out to me, go ahead and submit any of your reach out to me at A Plus Opinions if you want to, over at Gmail, aplusopinions@gmail.com, and definitely go ahead and certainly let me know. So experience, if you have it, no experience, I'm sure we could probably find something for you, but definitely go ahead and certainly let me know what you guys think, and reach out to me whenever you get the chance. Let's see here. So yeah, it's just going to be myself here today, guys. So it's just going to be pretty lax, pretty chill. Probably not going to take myself too seriously today, but definitely a ton of topics for us to certainly go ahead and get into today. My mom says I could do movie reviews, maybe a few rom-coms. Okay, mom. Yeah, welcome to the team, mom. Welcome to the team. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into some quick honorable mentions for you guys today. Some quick honorable mentions, real quick, right off the top. We got ourselves a brand new Black Adam poster here this past week. This is probably one of my favorite posters that we've gotten so far. There's just something about the bright red background that just really makes everything else certainly pop for me. Especially like the attention to detail in regards to just all these characters, man. It just really pops for me. I'm really excited for this Black Adam movie, which is set to go ahead and drop this upcoming October. So we are getting it this year. And if anything, I think, listen, while I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Black Adam, my love and interest is really in regards to the Justice Society of America, the JSA, getting the opportunity to even see Hawkman in that fantastic helmet once again, and his costume. Man, I cannot wait to kind of see these characters be brought to life on the big screen. So really looking forward to that. So yeah, we did get ourselves a brand new poster for Black Adam this week, and we also got some news, or not news, but some new photos for the upcoming Lord of the Rings series, The Ring of Power, over on Amazon. They finally gave us a very great look, if you ask me, at some of their upcoming orc designs that they wind up having as the armies are certainly being put together here. And listen, the one thing that I will say, shout out to IGN for these amazing photos. But I love the attention to detail in here. The costume designs for the orcs, this feels like, look, we already know Amazon definitely put a ton of money behind this series, maybe even more money than they did the original trilogy for Lord of the Rings, for all I know. But I will say this, man. The money seemingly is very much well spent. I think just from the photos alone, you can really tell just the attention to detail. Just like even looking at the chainmail and stuff for these orcs. I mean, I'm really impressed in regards to what they're being able to create here with these monster designs. So Lord of the Rings, at least when it comes to its creature designs, is definitely going to be something amazing. So I'm really looking forward. I'm actually really looking forward to just the series in general. I think after the trilogy, I became such a huge Lord of the Rings fan that I really want to see how Amazon winds up tackling this particular series. So I am looking very much forward to that. And then we also wind up getting a brand new House of the Dragon poster. We do have some Game of Thrones news for you guys, but that we're going to go ahead and get into later on today. But yeah, new House of the Dragon poster winds up dropping as we get to see a brand new dragon in here. There's going to be several of them this season, as well, as we are at the height of the Targaryen power. And anytime you got the Targaryens in power, there are dragons everywhere. So they definitely will be getting the opportunity to see several different dragons in here. And this series begins August 21st. So House of the Dragon is this year, August 21st. We also going to have Lord of the Rings this year. If you guys are big into like epic fantasies like this is definitely your year. This is definitely your year for sure. So definitely go ahead and let me know your thoughts in regards to that. And I think there's maybe two last minute things that wind up coming up for us as of yesterday. We talked a little bit about, maybe I'll hold off on one of these stories till we get to the Game of Thrones things side of things. But the Duffer Brothers, who are the creators of Stranger Things, have recently come out in the news and said they have a spinoff in mind that they're plan on doing. He says it's going to be different than what anyone is possibly imagining. So I am kind of curious as to what the Duffer Brothers are creating for a Stranger Things spinoff. I mean, look, we still have 2 more episodes left for season 4, which is supposed to drop, I believe, this upcoming Friday on the 1st, if I'm not mistaken. So we still have season 4 to go. And I believe there's one more season of Stranger Things in regards to season 5. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe maybe the Stranger Things spinoff was either filmed alongside with the season 5, or it's something that they put together while they were certainly filming season 5. So I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing what they come up with. One of our followers over on Facebook, good old Tyler, he suggested a cop drama for Harper, which I thought was actually pretty genius. I honestly would not mind a cop drama with good old David Harbour at the helm, if that's something that they certainly wanted to do. I think they said the only person that's figured out what their Stranger Things spinoff is certainly going to be, I believe he said it was like the one of the kids on the show, Finn, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he's the gentleman that or the kid that was in Ghostbusters Afterlife also. I believe he's the one that figured out what the Stranger Things spinoff was certainly going to be. But I'm fascinated by it. They've been able to do some amazing things with the Stranger Things franchise. So yeah, man, I'm all on board if they want to go ahead and give us more content from that particular world. So I'm very much excited for that for sure. We got AJ in the house. What's going on, AJ? Kurt says, I missed your live video on Power Ranger Cosmic Fury. Is it okay for to share your thoughts on it briefly? I would just recommend checking out the video, man. I have it down on our YouTube channel. You could certainly go ahead. It's like 40 minutes long, but there's also timelines on it. So if you need to skip through it, you could certainly go ahead and do so. Maybe it's something that we'll get to towards the end of the show for you, Kurt. But in the meantime, I would recommend going ahead and checking out the actual video itself. Also, just to give you guys a heads up in regards to a little bit of a channel update for you guys today, in regards to live viewer questions, I did record a live viewer questions for you guys as of after yesterday afternoon. Since Stuart was never able to get around to doing so, I went ahead and just took the initiative myself and went ahead and recorded one. So I did get to a plethora of your guys' questions already that, if anything, I probably will be dropping for you guys. If not later on tonight, I'll definitely upload it to YouTube by Monday. So definitely go ahead and look forward to that. So if I do get to live viewer questions at the end of the episode and you guys say, hey, you guys didn't get to my questions from the previous weeks, trust me when I say I have gotten to them. So we should be all caught up as of today. So again, going forward, when it comes to live viewer questions, please, 1 question per person a week. We definitely would appreciate that around here. But all right, guys, other than that, Tarek says, yeah, you're getting close to 1K subs on Hero Report. Yeah, we're getting there, man. We're certainly getting there. I think the Cosmic Fury video has been doing bonkers numbers. I think it's at like 2K views as of right now. Last time I looked, I think we gained 12 or 15 subscribers, I think, from the one video, which is fantastic. But the idea now is that I'm really just trying to bring a great balance to Hero Report. So it's not a one franchise so much over the other as of right now. So it's great to be bringing in future Power Ranger fans and things like that. But I definitely would like to try and balance this stuff out a little bit when it comes to articles and stories. We also got Gabriel in the house. What's going on, Gabriel? Good to see you around here, buddy. But let's go ahead and get into some main topics for you guys today, man. Let's go ahead and crush this episode since it's just YOLO Dolo today. But our first topic today is probably going to come to us from the world of Marvel, as you guys saw at the very top of this particular thumbnail. thumbnail for the show, Kevin Feige is back in the news as the future of the MCU definitely has a lot of question marks around it. As we're continuing our way through phase 4 here, one of the things that the MCU has done an incredible job of is the Infinity Saga that took up, about 3 phases over the amount of time or expanse of about 8 to 10 years, if you will, doing something unlike anything else in cinematic history in regards to, 23 films. I think if you average them out, come to about maybe $1 billion a piece, which is ridiculous and kind of unheard of. And so after that, really, I think the question for a lot of fans is kind of, where does the MCU certainly go from here, right? Like, what else can you do? What else can you do to certainly top Thanos and the Infinity Saga? And trust me when I say, Kevin Feige seemingly has always had a plan. And one of the things that I am noticing when it comes to phase 4, which for some people, I think we should kind of look at phase 4 in the MCU. I don't want to say as like a fresh reboot, but a kind of a brand new beginning, if you will. Trying to really create maybe a brand new saga from the bottom up, if you will, from scratch. And so for phase 4, it's been an interesting journey so far for some fans, to say the least. Some people feel like maybe the MCU doesn't quite know where it wants to go, that there are too many sort of loose threads, if you will. We've gotten ourselves a combination so far of returning characters like Wanda, along with Vision, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but also the introduction to some brand new characters being injected into the MCU. And so I'm definitely under the impression that this is certainly going to be a journey to certainly go ahead and build back up to yet another fantastic conclusion to a saga. Very much how phase 1 certainly did it. But now that we've gotten the groundwork of the MCU certainly played out, it definitely seems as though they are tackling phase 4 and things going forward maybe a little bit differently than certainly what we are used to. And so while we are continuing our way through phase 4, some people certainly continue to have questions as to where this is going. And ladies and gentlemen, it certainly feels as though Kevin Feige plans to answer those here very, very soon. Let's go ahead and dive into our first article here for you guys today. This comes to us from totalfilm.com, as they wind up having a great insight into Thor Love and Thunder in their most recent issue. But they had the opportunity to go ahead and sit down with Kevin Feige during this. And according to Total Film, it says Kevin Feige says we'll hear more about Marvel's next big saga in the next coming weeks or coming months. Excuse me. This is an exclusive article where it says Kevin Feige talks to Total Film about the MCU's next chapter. It says Marvel fans love thinking ahead, and Marvel Studios love encouraging them with breadcrumbs. For the moment, however, phase 4 isn't quite leading to a big end game in the same way phase 1 through 3's Infinity Saga was punctuated by Thanos' pursuit of the Infinity Stones. But Kevin Feige has a plan. He always does. As part of the new film, Total Film cover feature for Thor Love and Thunder, the Marvel Studios president has teased that some answers are coming sooner rather than later. He says, as we're nearing the end of phase 4, I think people will start to see where this next saga is going, confides Feige in the new issue. He says, I think there have been many clues already that are at least apparent to me of where this whole saga is going. But we'll be a little more direct about that in the coming months to set a plan. So audiences who want to see the bigger picture can see a tiny, tiny, tiny bit more of the roadmap. And I think that's pretty much the last thing that he winds up having to say in regards to that. So, yep, Kevin Feige back in the news, letting us know that we will be getting an opportunity to see some details here rather soon. How soon could they possibly be coming? That's really the million-dollar question. And they might have already given us a hint, ladies and gentlemen, because according to comic book news or comicbook.com, it seems as though Marvel Studios has announced that they're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con this year. That's right, guys. They're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con. So it says, after much speculation from fans in the recent months, Marvel Studios announced today that their plans are for the upcoming San Diego Comic-Con. Between a number of projects the studio is developing, the return to celebrating San Diego Comic-Con in person And with the D23 Expo coming later this year, fans have been wondering how much the studio would be focusing on the MCU and what's on the horizon. And now we know there will be an in person presence and presentation at the event. So San Diego Comic-Con is going to be running from July 21st through July 24th, and bringing in a barrage of exciting experiences in honor of a number of franchises. This is what Kevin Feige said. He says, we'll be at Comic-Con next month, which we're excited about. First time since we were on stage there in 3 years talking about this movie and many others. And now I think almost not everything, but almost everything we discussed 3 years ago that was released. So we are excited to go and talk about the future. So yeah, man, they're back at San Diego Comic-Con after 3 years. And it seems as though Kevin Feige is bringing all his information here with him. If anything, I will say this, going back to the Kevin Feige thing. I think they're definitely going to hold off on stuff for San Diego Comic-Con and D23. I was having a conversation with one of my buddies, Jinsaku, over on Twitter. We were talking in our group chat about what it is that Kevin Feige could potentially be revealing to us. And he was kind of under the impression that maybe when it comes to San Diego Comic-Con, maybe we get the movie aspect of things, maybe D23, because of the fact that it's going to be Disney Plus. Maybe that's the idea of revealing more of the television side of things. I'm not quite sure. Who knows what Kevin Feige has in store for us when it comes to the MCU and the big announcements, but I'm really looking forward to the path that they certainly have in store for us. I'm trying to see what we have remaining for Phase 4. As of right now, the upcoming Phase 4 movies include Thor: Love and Thunder, a Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, I should say, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and The Marvels. Those are, in fact, the last movies that they have for Phase 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 5 movies left. And on the television side of things, they also have She-Hulk that's coming out, along with Secret Invasion. And we're currently doing Miss Marvel as of right now. So I don't really know what else to expect outside of Phase 5. I would assume Phase 5 would probably be some of the other television series that we've been introduced to or teased about, maybe like Ironheart. I wonder if Ironheart is going to end up being a Phase 5, maybe even Armor Wars. I wonder if they're kind of pushing that back also for a Phase 5. They did reveal it, but we haven't really heard too much in regards to Armor Wars and I believe Ironheart. All we've really been getting is a bunch of casting announcements. So it looks like the television side things doesn't have too many things certainly left, but when it comes to movies, we definitely have a plethora. And so I love the idea in here that he kind of teases as we near the end of Phase 4. I think people will start to see where this next saga is going. I think there have been many clues already that are at least apparent to me of where this whole saga is going, but we'll be a little bit more direct about it in the next coming months to set up a plan. And so, like, when I think of this and I hear Kevin Feige talking about this, one of the things that kind of immediately comes to my mind, just going back to some of the television shows and the movies, I feel like we've got maybe 3 or 4 different arcs that are kind of going on all at the same time. I feel like the multiverse aspect of things, along with like variants, the timeline that we kind of all saw in the Loki series, I think all of that could probably easily be focused on into one storyline. I think the idea of maybe Kang the Conqueror, right? We've heard the idea of there being different variants of Kang out there, from the Jonathan Majors character from the Loki series, kind of giving us a brief insight into how maybe the multiverse works on his side. The idea of creating variants that go off to create these multiple variations, if you will. All of that combined with, say, the events of No Way Home, the events of Doctor Strange 2, all of that seemingly can easily be put together under one umbrella, with maybe Kang the Conqueror kind of being sort of the main focus and main presence there. So you can have him as a villain. I am also, one of the other things that we've kind of been seeing is the building of what seems to be a Young Avengers core. We've seen a plethora of Young Avenger characters already kind of introduced. And if I'm not mistaken, I do believe one of the Young Avengers' very first villains was, in fact, that of Kang the Conqueror. So I am kind of curious if this build up for maybe a Kang moment might lead us to something like a Young Avengers film that winds up kind of all coming together. And that's not even the only arc that they have going on, too, right? Like, we're supposed to be getting ourselves a Thunderbolts movie. So we very much have sort of like these grounded supervillains turned heroes. How are they going to be implemented into the overall bigger picture of the MCU, along with the idea that something like Doctor Strange opened us to the world of incursions. And if you know anything about incursions from the comic books, the concept and the idea of incursions do tend to lead to another big milestone in Marvel Comics, and that is Secret Wars that they've been kind of teasing for quite some time also. So I do wonder if there's something that the low-key Doctor Strange Kang storyline maybe could lead into something along the Young Avengers storyline, and then maybe that leads into yet another event film on a much bigger scale in regards to Secret Wars. I can kind of see the connective tissues and pieces certainly being there. It's truly the roadmap in regards to what movies are going to be dropping first, what series are going to be interlinked, and really trying to figure out how all of these are certainly going to be connected. So I do think there's a much bigger picture out there. And honestly, guys, that's not even talking about the introduction to the X-Men or even the freaking Fantastic Four, right? So there is a world for me where I kind of almost, and I feel like I've said this before when we've had the Fox and Disney merger, that the MCU is getting so incredibly big, so many heroes are being introduced. There's kind of a part of me that really wants the X-Men side of things to truly be in its own multiverse and certainly its own world. And look, I would definitely get the pushback because of the fact that people want to see probably the X-Men interact in some way with the Avengers or other certainly Marvel characters. But there is sort of like autonomy. Is that I'm trying to find the right word, and maybe I'm using the incorrect word, but there is a part of me that kind of wants the X-Men to kind of be almost in their own world with just how many characters and storylines you could potentially tell there. And then maybe eventually we get ourselves an X-Men versus Avengers movie like Phase 6 or some shit like that, or Phase 7, who knows? The only thing I do know is that Kevin Feige has a plan, and they're certainly planning it pretty far out. I think they said they had after the, I can't remember if it was after the Doctor Strange press tour or maybe after Thor Love and Thunder, Kevin Feige mentioned that they were going to be going on a writing retreat to go ahead and figure out and plan like the next 5 years of the MCU. So when it comes to Kevin Feige, I definitely trust his thought in Kevin Feige. I trust for sure. After what we wind up getting from the first three phases, I do think that this is definitely a much bigger obstacle than what we wind up getting sort of in the past. And so for me, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how all of this is interlinked with one another. But yeah, man, Kevin Feige says we're going to be learning some big things here within the next couple of months. And he does say that many clues have already been revealed, or at least apparent to him. And I'm kind of curious to know what some of those clues definitely are for you guys, and what path you definitely think that they're certainly going down. Like, I just don't think it's going to be as build uppy to another Avengers film as we saw the past phases. I definitely do think we're going to get a lot more event films per se than these huge build-ups to brand new Avenger movies. I think maybe the Young Avengers might be an exception to that particular rule, but I can easily see Secret Wars being its own movie, not so much an Avengers-based movie, right? So I do think that we could have some pretty big event films certainly going forward as the MCU just continues to change and certainly continues to grow, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I would definitely want to know your guys' thoughts in regards to what Kevin Feige certainly had to say. Let's see here. Marcelino says, How do we know when phase 4 ends, and which project will it be? Well, I will say this. I expect Kevin Feige to certainly clarify that for us when he does roll out phase 5 and gives us an idea of what movies and series are certainly going to be a part of that. Because I'm kind of under the impression, let me see what I'm trying to see if they've got like a release schedule, because I know Kevin Feige in the past has said that he likes to end his phases on like solo films. I believe that's what Stewart mentioned to me previous. And when you look at the previous phases, they usually will have an Avengers film and then followed by like a solo film of a character to go ahead and wrap up that particular phase. So I am curious if the Marvels might be it. Granted, it's not necessarily a solo film, but it is a Captain Marvel movie, right? It's not like a big overall Avengers movie. So I don't know. I got to see what the release schedules are certainly going to be for some of these movies, but I think we'll definitely have a much clearer plan and understanding of where Phase 4 ends, Marcelino, once he explains to us where season or where Phase 5 certainly begins. Um, Let's see. Enrique says, "Is Black Panther 2 reveal trailer at San Diego Comic-Con?" That's a good question, Enrique. I do believe so. I would not be surprised. I would not, I certainly would not mind that. I'm trying to see what else might be on there. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantum Continuum. I wouldn't mind getting a little bit more teases in regards to that. I highly doubt that they would give us a trailer, but I could definitely expect a trailer perhaps from Black Panther. I know Guardians 3 has currently been filming. And I believe Ant-Man and Wasp filmed also, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe we do get some trailers for some upcoming movies, or maybe at least a teaser. I can see a full trailer for Black Panther, maybe a little bit of a brief teaser for Quantum Mania, and maybe Guardians. And then maybe some concept art or exclusive photos from like the Marvels. So maybe that's the path that they're certainly going to go down. And who knows, maybe they give us an idea of what's to come at San Diego Comic-Con, and then the future of what's to come in phase 5 at say D23. That could certainly be an idea also, like San Diego Comic-Con just celebrating what is remaining in phase 4 and certainly what's upcoming, because we have yet to see first looks at a lot of this stuff. I can definitely see a world where San Diego Comic-Con focuses on the finale of phase 4, and D23 sort of a look to the future as well. So that's definitely another option, but I certainly do expect one of those big sort of Marvel timeline images to kind of see where everything certainly fits. So yeah, we'll definitely have to see, Enrique, but big things are definitely coming. So if you're a huge Marvel fan, certainly pay attention to San Diego Comic-Con and D23 certainly going forward. Ram Jam also says, "Hey, whatever Kevin Feige has planned, I'm all in." So am I, Ram Jam. So am I. And listen, I will say this. While I have enjoyed some of the Disney Plus stuff, I'm sure that there are some people that probably haven't, or felt like maybe it's a smaller step in quality at times. But I feel like the idea of how they've been introducing some characters to us have been pretty good. Like I really enjoyed the Moon Knight series. If anything, I felt like maybe they didn't necessarily stick the landing so much. I'm actually a really big fan of the Miss Marvel series that we certainly have so far, and I'm kind of interested to see how that winds up turning out also. So I do think that there's some pretty good things that Disney and Marvel are certainly doing right now. But if anything, I definitely trust Kevin Feige to continue to have a path in mind, and this is why every studio needs them, Kevin Feige, especially if you're looking to build a huge cinematic universe like that. So we'll see how Kevin Feige's vision comes to fruition, but I think we're in for a treat. I think we're in for a treat, guys. But yeah, at the end of the day, certainly go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. Enrique also says, "Is the Marvel Studios panel might reveal new Disney Plus specials and show at D23 in 2022?" Yeah, that's kind of where we're assuming as of right now. But yeah, guys, definitely go ahead and let us know your thoughts. And with that, we'll go from one Marvel show to or one Marvel topic to the next, as we are very close, ladies and gentlemen, to Thor: Love and Thunder dropping here in theaters. They actually just had the premiere this past week. Early reactions are in fact out. If you're big into first reactions, certainly go ahead and check them out for yourself. And tickets are in fact available. Not quite sure if you guys have gotten your tickets for Thor: Love and Thunder. Surprisingly, I have not yet, man. I have not gotten my tickets yet, and I'm really, really looking forward to this particular film. But Natalie Portman is currently in the news as the press continues to build for the release of this movie. Marketing at full effect, really trying to build up that hype train for this film and get people to come out to the theaters. Good old Natalie Portman is back in the news as she gets the opportunity to talk a little bit about not only being a newbie when it comes to Thor: Love and Thunder, but certainly her return as Jane Foster and really the work that she certainly had to put in. Because listen, when it comes to Natalie Portman as Jane Foster, the idea and the introduction to her back at San Diego Comic-Con a couple of years ago, her returning to the franchise, put a sour taste in some people's mouths. Kind of felt, some people felt some type of way about the return of Natalie Portman. And, you know, to a certain extent, I was definitely one of them, simply because of the fact that when it comes to the Jane Foster character, I haven't really been that impressed in regards to how the MCU certainly handled her. And I definitely have seen Natalie Portman put her best foot forward in other projects instead of when it necessarily comes to Jane Foster. So I definitely was very much hesitant in the idea of her return. But the one thing that I certainly said was, if there's anybody that can make me feel for the Jane Foster character once again, it's somebody like a Taika Waititi, especially if they go ahead and dive into maybe the potential breast cancer storyline from the Mighty Thor comic books that wind up turning Jane Foster into Thor in the very first place. If that's something that the MCU certainly might tackle, the idea of giving Jane Foster an actual storyline might, as a fan, get me to certainly care about her a little bit more. And so ever since then, as we've continued to see Thor: Love and Thunder build up, trailers, posters, we have been wowed around here. And I think a lot of doubters definitely have had their mouths shut a little bit in regards to just the amazing transformation of Natalie Portman and what seems very much like a new recommitment, not only to the Jane Foster character, but the MCU. And so now I find myself as somebody that is very much interested and eager to see the return of Natalie Portman. So let's go ahead and dive into this and see exactly what she's saying in regards to her return to the MCU. This also comes to us from Total Films, as they had that big Thor: Love and Thunder issue. This is Natalie Portman on being a newbie Thor in Love and Thunder and her preparation for the role. So it says, so yeah, they got the opportunity to sit down with her, and Natalie Portman says it's exciting to be to get to be a superhero, having appeared as Jane Foster in Thor along with Thor: Dark World, and there's no guidebook that comes along and tells you how to do it. Newbie or otherwise, Portman certainly looks the part. Jane Foster's imposing new look was all down to Portman. She says the only thing we assisted with was making the Mighty Thor look a little bit taller, is what Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige says. That was the only movie magic we used. Everything else was all her. So she looks like she's got some stilts on for sure in her shoes to certainly make her look bigger. But the rest of that transformation is all her. On the preparation required for Foster's Thor, some return, Portman explains, I trained for a long time before and during, and I was doing the whole protein shakes thing. It really helped prepare me for the level of action that we ended up having to do. She also adds, we had incredible stunt doubles who did the really hard stuff, but there's still a great deal of running and jumping and swords and hammer fighting. It was definitely helpful to be strong, to have the weight of the cape all day. You want to have that upper body strength. So yeah, man, she just in her words alone, you could definitely see how well prepared she was. It says, as for the love in Love and Thunder, Jane Foster and Thor called it quits off screen, but Hemsworth teased they'll get into the story behind the breakup. We had a lot of fun exploring that and answering a lot of unanswered questions from the second film onwards when they parted ways. That was left pretty open and up for interpretation as far as who dumped who what actually happened there. Did they keep in contact? What were their feelings about how that all ended? We had some good times diving into all of that. That alone is going to be hilarious. Like just the idea of from the trailers alone, seeing Chris Hemsworth as Thor, see the return of Jane Foster, him being not only surprised, but also really impressed. Like, just kind of, it feels like he's kind of falling in love again, or like having her around maybe brings back those feelings. And it's going to be pretty fun kind of seeing how Thor navigates that, right? Like, does he try to impress her now that she's a god herself, right? So yeah, I'm really looking forward to some of the one-liners and just kind of seeing these two exes squabble a little bit, but yet maybe with loving intentions, if you know what I mean. So I'm really looking forward to just seeing how that's all kind of explored. But the idea of seeing Natalie Portman come in here, talk about that she trained before, after, or excuse me, before and during the shakes that she wind up taking, a lot of the strength work that she wind up having to build up for herself. Because again, while she definitely didn't do the hard stuff as she explains in here, she definitely did a lot of the running, jumping, swords, and hammer fighting. So yeah, man, you definitely have to make sure that you're in tip-top shape for something along those lines. And they also did go ahead and release some incredible they also did go ahead and release some incredible photos from here as well for you guys to check out. I mean, she looks amazing in this. I mean, look at those arms, bro. Those were not Jane Foster arms before the Dark World, like at all. And so she really looks like she's put in that work, man. This is another photo that they went ahead and exclusively revealed. Maybe Thor's given some words of wisdom as he tries to find some peace in his life to the Guardians of the Galaxy. And then, of course, the biggest arms in the world as of right now, good old Chris Hemsworth here in his 80s rock star sort of punk vibe, man. I kind of dig it. But yeah, man, Chris Hemsworth is looking great. But Natalie is just absolutely killing it right now. But yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to this. And props to her, man. You know, one of the biggest question marks I had was, one, does she care enough about the Jane Foster to really come back? Or is this the opportunity for her to be thrusted back in the spotlight? You know, sometimes there is a sense of like entitlement that I certainly worried about. You know, she didn't, you know, I feel like she didn't have the best experience with the MCU, or even the MCU fans maybe felt some type of way about it. So I think maybe there were some fan base that kind of felt some way about her also. So when she got revealed at San Diego Comic-Con, it's like, where's this girl been this entire time, right? But she comes back and now she all of a sudden gets the mantle and the main focus of a new Thor film. It definitely kind of sat some type of way with me. But to see the attention to detail and the commitment of Natalie Portman on her way back, knowing that the MCU now is going to give Jane Foster something she can really sink her teeth into. I really do hope that we get top tier Natalie Portman, because I've always loved Natalie Portman as an actor. It's just always been her portrayal of Jane Foster I've never been the biggest fan of. And so if we can really get ourselves a motivated Natalie Portman to go ahead and do this particular role as the Mighty Thor, I do think that we're definitely going to have some fun with it. And not just even from a serious drama aspect, but her being directed by somebody like Taika Waititi, I definitely want to see what her comedy chops are definitely going to be like how awkward that is for her. Like, I really want to know some behind the scene details. Like, did she feel like she fit perfectly well in sort of that directorial style? Is she a funny person outside, like off of set sort of thing? I really would like to kind of know what aspect of Natalie Portman she put into this character of her own when it comes to the comedy side of things. So again, the recommitment of Natalie Portman seemingly has gone a fantastic way, and to be able to see an actor of that caliber really focus and seeing an end result like this, to finally get some of the fans to kind of turn around and have a different mindset towards her, I think is a huge win for Natalie Portman here. And this movie looks like it's coming together brilliantly. Now, for me, when it comes to Thor Love and Thunder and the first reactions, because again, they currently are out, I have not read them, with the exception of maybe some headlines out there about how the humor's being praised, really great story and things like that. But I haven't really sat down and watched or read too many. Like for me, I feel like I've maybe been burned by first reactions too much before. Everybody coming out of the theater and their first immediate thing is just to praise everything, right? And then when it actually becomes available to the public and other critics, that Rotten Tomato score or that critic score or fan score kind of comes down just a little bit, if you will. And maybe some people feel some other type of way about it, right? So I definitely try and stay away from first reactions, just because I don't want to say that they're always biased, but it definitely feels like first reactions tend to gloss over some things, whereas I think maybe second, third showing might really do things wonders. So for me, I kind of want to go into these movies blind, with my own kind of perspective and idea of what this movie certainly might be, without really having any sort of anybody else influence sort of my mindset kind of going into a movie, right? Because I can go in a movie looking at a first reaction like, oh, people are really happy about this movie, they're loving it, and I'm like, what are these people watching? You know what I mean? So I definitely, I personally don't check out first reactions, but I definitely would recommend you guys do so if that's the type of thing that you're certainly into. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this movie. Really looking forward to it. I loved Ragnarok. I know that there were some people that maybe felt it was a little bit too comedic, which is certainly understandable, especially based off of the previous two Thors that we had gotten. But I will say this: I do feel like if you felt some type of way about Ragnarok, Taika Waititi and them are just going to go ahead and push the limits here for Thor: Love and Thunder. So it might be even more bonkers and more outlandish than what we certainly are used to. But I trust Taika Waititi to be able to balance out the ridiculousness with a fantastic story, something that will probably pull at our heartstrings or at least be rather impactful. I think he is one of the few directors that can really do that, go from one end of the spectrum to the other, and just make it blend so incredibly well. So Natalie Portman clearly believed in it to put in the hard work to be capable of having these amazing sequences and scenes. And kudos to Natalie Portman for doing the work. I definitely appreciate her a lot more for that alone. But let me see what you guys are saying on here. Datilla does say that she's actually going to be seeing Thor on the 8th. So she definitely has her ticket there also. Enrique asks, "This Thor: Love and Thunder might get a post-credit scene?" I got to assume so. It's an MCU movie. They may have a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene. I am kind of curious to see where this is going to lead. If this leads in any way to, say, a Guardians of the Three movie, does this work on the bigger picture? Like, will we get, say, an incursion situation at the end of this? Will we see sort of more multiverse or timeline issues kind of pop up towards the end, whether again mid-credit or post-credit scene? I am kind of right now more than ever, especially when it comes to phase 4 and kind of trying to figure out the trajectory of where the future is going for the MCU. These mid-credit scenes and post-credit scenes are extremely sort of important, as we saw at the very end of Doctor Strange, where he's off to go ahead and stop an incursion himself. So I am kind of curious to see what will happen at the end of Thor. Marcelino says, "Do you plan on going to RTX this year in Austin, Texas?" I don't even know what RTX is, man. Sorry about that. Maybe you can clarify that for me in the comment section. But yeah, guys, certainly go ahead and let me know your thoughts in regards to that. Let's see here. Next topic that we're going to be getting into for you guys today will, in fact, be Marvel Studios related, but not quite. This is going to be more along the Sony picture side of things, using Marvel Studios characters as one of the films that they're currently in preparation for and actually have officially wrapped is Kraven the Hunter, believe it or not. Good old Aaron Taylor Johnson has wrapped up filming Kraven the Hunter. Over the past few weeks, we have dropped some set photos for you guys to have seen in the past. And it's been rather hush hush, I feel like. We haven't really gotten too many details from Kraven the Hunter in regards to the movie. And you guys know how I feel when it comes to Sony Pictures. I still have not had the opportunity to watch out Morbius. I am still a little worried and concerned about Morbius. I feel like I've seen so many mixed reactions, some good, some absolutely atrocious. Some people saying, it's not as bad as people say that it is. I definitely want to go ahead and certainly check it out for myself. But after the first two Venom movies, I still feel a little bit underwhelmed by anything that Sony does when it comes to utilizing these Marvel Studios characters, if you will. But you know what? When it comes to Sony Pictures, I actually did give Uncharted a shot with Tom Holland. I really was not looking forward to it. The trailers didn't do anything for me. But after I had watched Uncharted, I didn't think it was that bad. I actually enjoyed it, certainly for what it was. So maybe there's an inkling of hope when it comes to a film like Kraven the Hunter. But Aaron Taylor Johnson is back in the news as he wind up talking a little bit about it. And I just kind of wanted to pick your guys' brain a little bit in regards to all that he's saying about this movie and just his character. And I guess really my reasons for worrying in the first place. Let's go ahead and dive into this, guys. This is from IGN. Sony's Spider-Man universe spinoff has just wrapped its production. Kraven the Hunter is shot entirely on location, says Aaron Taylor Johnson. That is one aspect I am kind of looking forward to. Aaron Taylor Johnson has confirmed that Sony's Kraven the Hunter movie was shot entirely on location, making it quite different to other Marvel films that have come before it. First off, I hate when they say other Marvel films. Like, please stop. Just stop. Like, this is not part of the MCU. Like, I know that it's in conjunction and in association with Marvel Studios because they're utilizing these characters, but please, like, don't put the mediocrity of Sony Marvel characters movies in the same breath as Marvel films. It's just no. Let's just stop doing that. Let's just stop doing that right now. Um, making it quite a different making it quite different to other Marvel films that have come before it. According to Variety, Taylor Johnson made an appearance during Sony's presentation at the Cine Europe conference, where he touched on his experience while filming Kraven the Hunter. The MCU veteran stars as the title character and has been kept busy with production as he revealed that Kraven has been shot entirely on location. It says Kraven being shot exclusively on location sets it apart from other Marvel productions, which has typically encompassed both real life settings and studio shoots. Taylor didn't offer any further explanation as to why they choose to shoot that way, but more details will likely emerge now that the filming has wrapped in Sony's Spider-Man universe spinoff. If I had to guess about the on location situation here, my first thought would simply be for some reason my mind goes back to the Eternals. The Eternals, I believe, was all shot on location, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they had any studio shoots in there. I could be wrong, but I feel like with Chloe Zhao, she's always a fan of that natural light. And being there, right? Feeling the presence of the environment around you. And I think it just really adds just a layer of depth to it. And I think when it comes to somebody like Kraven the Hunter, who is a hunter, the idea of that natural light, that natural scenery and surrounding, especially if he's a hunter that's got to go and whether he's in the city or whether he's in a rainforest or a jungle or whatever the case may be, I do think that there is something important about attaching sort of the concept of nature and living in nature to somebody like a Kraven the Hunter, who seems like a very feral sort of hunter at the end of the day. And so I think that actually kind of works. I kind of dig that idea. He does say, reflecting on his shoot, Taylor Johnson said he was excited to play Kraven because he's not an alien or a wizard. He's just a hunter, a human with conviction, an animal lover, and a protector of the natural world. He's also described his very, very cool character as being one of Marvel's most iconic, notorious anti-heroes and Spider-Man's number one rival. This feels more like just talking points for Aaron Taylor Johnson to me more than anything. I feel like he's just hitting points that Sony wants him to say without necessarily having to give too much information. He's a hunter, absolutely. A human with conviction. I think we can say Kraven the Hunter is definitely that. An animal lover, though, if you're a hunter, I don't know if that's necessarily the route that I would have gone in regards to maybe describing him. Especially, Craven is typically portrayed as a renowned big game hunter whose goal in life is to best Spider-Man in order to prove himself as the world's greatest hunter. Though he is often overconfident in his own abilities, which he boasts about, he possesses a great sense of honor and treats his adversaries as equal until proven otherwise. Kraven has also been depicted as an anti-hero as well, whom he came Spider-Man, who he came to respect deeply for numerous times he defeated Kraven. So I don't know, man. I just don't know if I'm digging and a protector of the natural world. I mean, listen, clearly there's a sense of honor when it comes to Kraven the Hunter. Clearly, from just the description that we read of Kraven the Hunter over from Wikipedia himself, I just guess I've never seen him sort of established as an animal lover, especially if he's a hunter and he kills animals. So I this just feels like Sony up to their ways of trying to find a way to make Kraven Hunter an anti-hero instead of a villain. And I'm fucking tired of it. I'm just tired of it. Why can't villains be villains? And I get it, especially if they're going to be getting their own solo films. You got to give them a reason for people to feel attached to them, to want to maybe root for them in some capacity or another. This just feels like another attempt of Sony and even Taylor Johnson, again, who, granted, physically the guy looks like Kraven the Hunter. I've never been impressed with him as an actor, though, unfortunately. So I don't know about the idea of him even portraying this character the way that I personally feel like he should be. But again, that's just maybe my own expectations of what I have for Kraven the Hunter here. But when he says, look, he's not an alien, that's why I like to play him. He's or a wizard. He's just a hunter, a human with conviction. Absolutely true, and clearly honor when it comes to his adversaries. But the idea of him being an animal lover and a protector of the natural world, maybe a protector of the natural world, I can see that. He also described him as a very, very cool character. I mean, it just feels like talking points to me, honestly. And it just makes me worry that, yeah, that they're going to turn Kraven into another anti-hero here where you got to figure out, do you hate him? Do you love this guy? And I just don't know if I'm on board with it, guys. I just don't know. I feel another mediocre movie certainly coming our way. But look, I want to know what you guys think when you hear Aaron Taylor Johnson talk about Kraven the Hunter this way. What do you think that they certainly have in mind for this character? And is this something that you guys are even interested in? Marcelino says, Jesus, Adam, you act like when Sony calls their Marvel films as part of the MCU is getting personal. It is getting personal when you lie to me, bro. Don't lie to me because it's not. It's not part of the MCU. Don't lie to me. You act like they hit your mom, girlfriend, or son. They act like it when they hit me with these really mediocre movies, man. Let's see. You also say RTX is a smaller San Diego like Comic Con. Okay, that was started by the company Rooster Teeth. Oh, I've heard of them and have been expanding for years. It revolves around gaming, internet, pop culture, and mostly Rooster Teeth projects. Oh, interesting. Thank you for the heads up, Marcelino. I'll definitely have to look more into it for sure. Nicole says, I heard Sony is developing another comic book movie. Do you think it will be good? I'm sure Sony's creating a ton of different movies. They've got Madam Web, I think, is next, that they're going into high gear with right now. We got Kraven the Hunter. I don't know what other movies we have from them outside of that right now, with the exception of like the animated stuff across the multiverse or across the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales. But outside that, I don't know any other live action Sony movies that they're making outside of Kraven and Madam Web. I think, oh, maybe a Silk. I think maybe Silk might have been another one that they have in early development, but I haven't heard too much about that also. And then I think the Black Cat and Silver Sable stuff, I think that might have been thrown to the side. I could be wrong. Marcelino says, "What did you think of Aaron Taylor Johnson as Kick-Ass?" That's probably the only film I really enjoyed him in. I didn't really care for him as Quicksilver. I didn't really even care for him so much in the Godzilla movie as well. But I haven't seen a lot of his most recent stuff also. So maybe he's grown as an actor since the last time that I saw him. But I thought he fit the role of Kick-Ass absolutely perfectly, honestly. I'll get to your questions later. I'm trying to stay on topic here. But yeah, guys. Enrique also says, when is the release date for Kraven the Hunter? Let's see if it has it here in the article. January maybe. Let me see. Sony to release two untitled Marvel movies. That's on top of already known Kraven the Hunter. Um, this is in addition to the third Sony Marvel production that already been announced. Kraven the Hunter, January 13th of this year. January 13th. Listen, and you know what makes it even worse, guys? What makes it even worse is that, and me and Stuart and Indy have talked about this before, right? Like there are some dates on the calendar that when it comes to movies are like the graveyard, you know? Movies that are released usually during January and February are usually where movies go to die. I don't know if that's necessarily changing or not, but the idea that even Sony places Craven the Hunter as a January 13th film, it just, to me, it almost feels like they don't even necessarily have faith in their own film. And so the idea of it being in January, because I think, look, Oscars, I think, are upcoming. You've just gotten over the big sort of holiday season, if you will. People are already going back to work or back to school, sort of thing. So people aren't even really going to the movies. It's like January and February are like the breath of fresh air, or like the breather, if you will, for moviegoers before they get hyped for that spring and summer sort of movies that start releasing as early as like March these days. And so yeah, for me, when I think of movies released in January, I tend to be a little bit worrisome about them. So, on top of the fact that I'm already concerned about this film and how they plan on depicting Kraven the Hunter, and then you tell me you release it in January, it's like a double whammy for me already as a viewer, kind of going into it, lowering my expectations. But we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see. Good old Frank. What's up, Frank? Evan Peters Quicksilver ruled, in my opinion. Yeah, I remember when it was Aaron Taylor Johnson's Quicksilver versus Evan Peters Quicksilver from the X-Men. And I remember when you put them up pictures side by side, everybody was like, bro, Aaron Taylor Johnson's Quicksilver is gonna crush this dude. Like, look how crappy of a costume design Evan Peters Quicksilver certainly has, right? Like, that was the narrative when these two movies dropped, and you quickly come to learn, yeah, Evans Peters Quicksilver was definitely the bigger deal in that movie than Age of Ultron Quicksilver. So he really crushed it. Kurt Marino says, really, I never heard January being the worst month of movies. Google search it for sure, Kurt. You will definitely understand what I'm saying. Simon says he's just saying that because other YouTubers say that about January. Listen, first off, Simon, I don't recycle anything anybody else says. What comes out of my mouth is my own my own train of thinking and my own research that I've certainly done as a big movie fan over the years. So no, I don't regurgitate what other YouTubers say just because they say that. Maybe that's some other YouTubers that you certainly watch, but that's definitely not me. I am my own person with my own mind, just to clarify. I say what I say because I've done my research. So I would definitely recommend you guys certainly go ahead and check it out. And I would be for you also, Simon. So yeah, and if anything, maybe I'll even go ahead and put a link in the description box below at the end of this for you guys. Because I think honestly, I think when me and Stuart talked about this, um, I think when me and Stuart talked about this, we talked about this months ago. I think I even pulled up a Google article that specifically mentioned the idea. Like, if you look at the box office, January is a terrible month to go ahead and actually release your movies. And again, I always have always heard it, and always in regards to just seeing the trajectory of things. That yeah, man, like if you don't have confidence in a movie, things tend to get moved to January and February, unfortunately. But it is a real thing. It is a real thing. I promise you. You definitely go ahead and certainly check it out for yourselves. And it's okay, Simon. It's okay. I just, I definitely have my own mind. That's all I'm saying. But thank you for certainly being here, sir. Let's see here. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. And that is going to be in regards to, we're going to deviate a little bit from the Marvel side of things. And we will dive into some Star Wars talk, because this past week, Obi-Wan Kenobi officially wrapped up. If you guys missed our review, certainly go ahead and check it out. Me and Stuart actually will be doing a live Obi-Wan Kenobi review in regards to a series review for you guys tomorrow evening. Monday 7 p.m. Central Time is what me and Stuart agreed upon. So we're going to be bringing you guys our Obi-Wan Kenobi series review live. And if you guys have had the opportunity to check out that series, please go ahead and certainly join us, as we would definitely love to hear your guys' thoughts on the series as well. I will say this. Obi-Wan Kenobi, now that is certainly in the books, one of the things that I always had a fun time about when it comes to Obi-Wan was trying to predict maybe some of the things that we would certainly see in that particular series, right? Especially cameos, who might pop up. Will we get some great Easter eggs, if you will? And while we definitely did get ourselves a fantastic cameo at the very end of Obi-Wan, I won't spoil it for those that have not had the opportunity to see it yet. There are definitely some potential other cameos that probably could have popped up in there. I heard some people theorizing maybe Ahsoka might pop up. I even heard some people mention the idea that good old Cal Kestis from the Jedi Fallen Order video game, who was very much active during this particular period of time in the time and Star Wars timeline, maybe he might even pop up in some form or another. Unfortunately, neither of those characters wind up popping up into Obi-Wan, but there is a current rumor out there right now. And again, this is just a rumor that perhaps a Cal Kestis series could be on the way. So let's go ahead and dive into this rumor. Again, big rumor, guys. Big rumor here. Michael Rhymes to say, how many episodes of Obi-Wan? I might check it out in judgment for myself. Just 6. Yeah, just like Simon said, just 6 episodes. So it's an easy sit down, man. You could probably knock it out in a day. I would definitely check it out for yourself, Michael. But going back to this rumor here, I will say, let's go ahead and dive into this, because this actually comes to us from one of my favorite Star Wars sites, StarWarsNewsNet.com. StarWarsNewsNet.com. This is a rumor that they wind up picking up on here. So, and it's not just necessarily a rumor of Cal Kestis series, but the idea here that Cameron Monaghan, the gentleman that you've probably seen him in the past. The last stuff I used to watch him on all the time. Damn it, what was the name of that? I want to say Senseless. That's not the name of the show. Damn it, I just lost it just now. But Cameron Monaghan, anyway, did the voice work for Cal Kestis in the Jedi Fallen Order video game. Not only the voice, but as you can clearly see from the image, body captured and everything. But this says a new rumor suggests that Cameron Monaghan, who portrayed the lead character Cal Kestis in Jedi Fallen Order, and the upcoming sequel, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, may be making the jump to live action. Today, Christian Harloff, who's a big Star Wars fan, he also has a great YouTube channel, offered a spicy rumor that he heard from a source that he trusts regarding Cameron Monaghan being approached to do a live action spinoff to Star Wars Jedi video game series. Here's what he had to say. And when it comes to Christian Harloff, I've been watching this guy for years. He had a couple of great YouTube channels, Jedi Council. I think he now has a YouTube. He's got his own YouTube channel, and on that YouTube channel, he does have a weekly Star Wars show called Sith Council. And so during the Disney era stuff of Star Wars, he was always very much headfirst into all the details. Had some really great sources back in the day as well. I don't know how his sources are now, but based off of my past with Christian Harloff, if he gets a source or some rumor, it's definitely something to at least pay attention to. So this is what Christian Harloff says. He says, rumor, rumor, rumor. Have to say that. Not confirmed. Rumor, rumor, rumor. I got this from someone I've trusted in the past. Tells me this is a thing. The rumor itself at the moment is that there's a Cal Kestis show in the works for Disney Plus. The rumor is that the actor Cameron Monaghan has actually signed on to play the character in a live action series. There's no production date sets yet, but my source tells me that this is happening. So he's under the impression that it's not even in early talks right now, that negotiations are ended and Cameron Monaghan has actually signed on to play this particular character. Again, that's his source telling him that, but he's just simply putting this on as a rumor. So rumor, 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 not confirmed. And they do have a clip to the show. It does say that Cal Kestis was introduced in Fallen Order as a Jedi Padawan who took to hiding as a scrapper on a planet called Braca, a place where the Empire disassembles parts from decommissioned Republic and Confederacy ships. When Kestis is forced to use his powers to save his friend's life, both the Inquisitors and a group of Jedi sympathizers find Cal Kestis as he escapes the planet. Cal spends the story coming to terms with what's happening and searching for a way to rebuild the Jedi Order, or at least keep survivors safe from the Empire. And listen, based off of the idea of trying to keep the Jedi safe from the Empire, if we just watched the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, we just learned of this thing called the Path, which is very much sort of safe houses for Jedi to come and kind of be in hiding and move people around if they need. Think of it as like the underground railroad for the Star Wars universe, if you will. There's a part of me that wonders if in building this path, if somebody like a Cal Kestis, maybe even an Ahsoka, maybe had some way in putting this together also, right? So I do think that there's plenty of Cal Kestis' story to certainly be told. And when you've got a great actor like Cameron Monaghan, this is an amazing opportunity to go ahead and bring this guy's story to life. It's something that I definitely really want to see. And if anything, if you guys have not played the Jedi Fallen Order video game and you're a big gamer, I definitely would certainly go ahead and recommend it. I absolutely love the storytelling in here. And I think actually now that I think about it, I think the last thing I saw Cameron Monaghan in was Gotham. Because he played the Joker in Gotham. I thought he did an incredible job with what they wind up giving him. But he's a very talented actor, and I truly would love to go ahead and see this brought to life. Because look, there is still a big chunk of time period between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope that certainly still needs to be explored. I think there's about 18 years in total, and we already have some things in there, right? Like the Bad Batch animated series is in there. The Star Wars Rebels animated series is in there. The Rogue One movie is in there. We now have Obi-Wan Kenobi series that takes place during that time period also. We have the upcoming Andor series that I believe drops this year, if I'm not mistaken, in August. The Cassian Andor from Rogue One story certainly has to be told. So I do think that there's time periods within this 18-year period that can really still be kind of explored to see how Cal Kestis, if anything, is connected to maybe other movements or other storylines that are kind of taking place, or maybe he's off kind of doing his own thing and there's really no sort of connective tissues out there. But regardless, I think it would be pretty fun. They can bring back the concept and the idea of the Inquisitors if they certainly would like to, since we've been introduced to them in Obi-Wan Kenobi, maybe handled a little bit different. And I think something like a Cal Kestis series could be more than just, say, a limited series in 6 episodes, right? Maybe it could be a 10 episode season, and not only just one season, but maybe multiple versions of those. You know what I mean? So I do think that there is an aspect of a Cal Kestis series that definitely could come to fruition. So I'm going to go ahead and keep my fingers crossed that this rumor turns into a reality, because I do think based off alone of what they created in the video game, they really just kind of opened up the doors for any direction that this character can certainly still go in. Because I do wonder what his future holds, why we don't see him in anything past A New Hope. Does he do something to go ahead and sacrifice himself rather early on in his season or in his life? You know what I mean? Or is he around later on? Because I do think one of the revelations that we're continuing to learn is that there are several characters that have survived during this time period that we're now even seeing pop up past, say, a Return of the Jedi sort of time period as well. So I would like to see this kind of come to life. But again, I would definitely love to know what you guys think in regards to the idea of not only a Cal Kestis series being in development, but the idea of Cameron Monaghan certainly returning. I think it's pretty cool. Like, I feel like we are in that time period now, because before, I used to feel like if you were a voice actor or you just did a voice for a character, that was your job, right? Like, if they were to adapt it into live action, the chances of the voice actor getting to be in that role is almost non-existent, just not even going to happen. I mean, look at Ashley Eckstein from who played Ahsoka in the Clone Wars. Voice actor, didn't even get the opportunity to play her as the live action Ahsoka. And I don't feel hurt about that. I love me some Rosario Dawson, and I definitely understand the move. But I do feel like we are getting into that world where, when it comes to voice acting now, I don't know if they're forward thinking in that sense of, hey, maybe we want to bring this character to life one day. Maybe the voice actor we get should be an actor. I don't know if that's the mindset that they have, but I kind of dig the idea now of seeing more actors that are doing the voice for these characters getting the opportunity to portray them now. Same thing could be said for Katie Sackhoff that played Bo-Katan in Clone Wars, and her being a well-rounded actor, now getting the opportunity to also play her in live action. There's something really fascinating and exciting about that for myself. So I hope this works out, and I hope it comes to fruition. But I definitely would love me a Cameron Monaghan led Cal Kestis series. And I think if we talk a minute real quick in regards to spin-off series, I do think that there's a potential for quite a few that we could certainly still have. People may roll their eyes at this, but I've said it before, I'll say it again. Princess Leia. We got introduced to ourselves to a Princess Leia. I do think that there are some, again, it may not necessarily be for every Star Wars fan, but maybe it's sort of geared towards the younger audience for all we know. I do think there's a potential for a spinoff for Leia. And honestly, one of the spinoffs I would really love to see would even be a Darth Vader spinoff. I do think that there is so much going on in that man's mind and struggle, and the training that he's getting from Sidious alone, that truly makes me wonder. I would love to see that conflict, and what else certainly comes up in Vader's life, to continue to allow him to struggle or push through that, if you will. So I do think that we definitely have ourselves some spinoffs that are certainly possible, and really the big question mark of, are we going to get ourselves an Obi-Wan season 2? We definitely will have to certainly wait for that. But I definitely want to know your guys' thoughts in regards to this potential rumor. Is this something that you certainly would like to see? Are there other Star Wars spinoffs that you potentially would like to see also? Go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comments section box below. Marcelino, thank you. He says the name of the show was Shameless. I kept saying senseless, but Shameless. I was almost there. Thank you so much, Marcelino. I really appreciate you coming through for me, man. Enrique says Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation Disney Plus special will arrive in July. Yeah, man, Lego is like taking over the world with these video games and animated series and stuff. Tarek says, I saw him on a Nickelodeon show when he was a kid. He was annoying. I'm assuming Cameron Monaghan. I don't know how he is as a person now, as a full-grown adult, but he's done some great work on Shameless and Gotham also. Carlos says, don't get mad, but I thought I was gonna miss A plus more phenomenal, but Hero Report now feels right at home. Well, thank you very much, Carlo. And no, I'm not gonna get mad at you bringing up A plus more phenomenal. That's certainly more than fine. Trust me when I say, it's bittersweet to say the least. Let's see here. We also got Marcelina says, when it comes to Jedi Survivor, I want there to be a mode where we can play as Knight's sister, Marin. She was set up as playing a major role in the story, but was quickly forgotten. That would actually be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool if they allowed that type of mode to play as a different character, especially as that Knight's sister. So that would be actually pretty cool, Marceline, to kind of see that, because I think she's part of the crew now, right? Marin, I believe she wound up joining the crew at the very end of the series or the end of the video game. So yeah, we'll definitely have to see what it's going to be like going forward. And from Star Wars, guys, we will go ahead and make our way over to more Game of Thrones talk for you guys today. As we talked at the very top for honorable mentions, the upcoming House of the Dragon series. Last week, we also talked a little bit about Game of Thrones as they had huge news in regards to a Jon Snow series being in early development with Kit Harington attached to it. We definitely had a great conversation in regards to that Jon Snow news last week, and Jon Snow is back in the news once again, as this time around, we do get to shape the narrative a little bit more in regards to details as to how this certainly all came about. We kind of question the idea of who the writers are certainly going to be. This might actually give us much more insight in regards to what this Jon Snow Game of Thrones spinoff series is truly going to be and who all is truly connected to this. So let's dive into this. This comes to us from good old variety.com. Man, I should have gotten me some water. My mouth is a little bit parched right now. Variety, Game of Thrones, Jon Snow spinoff was actually Kit Harington's idea. George R.R. Martin on to help shape the story. It says, the world got a surprise June 16th with the news that HBO is in early development on a Game of Thrones sequel series centered on Jon Snow. But that was hardly news for Emilia Clarke. The actor revealed to BBC that her longtime co-star confided in her that he was in talks to continue playing Jon Snow on a spin-off series. Both Harington and Clarke starred on all 8 seasons. They also go on to say, he says, he has told me about it, and I know that it exists. It's happening. So he's in it. It's been created by Kit, as far as I can understand, from the ground up. So what you will be watching, hopefully, if it happens, is certified by Kit Harington. So they very much brought this guy in. Oh, just retweet, yeah, Adam. Oh, thank you very much, Satel. I appreciate the retweet. So yeah, Emilia Clarke knew that this was going to be happening. Apparently, he had let her know that he was in talks to reprise his role, and according to her, I know it exists, that it's happening. It was created by Kit, as far as I can understand, so he's in it from the ground up. So it's certified by Kit. It also says Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin confirmed that Jon Snow series in a June 23 blog post, writing the show is being developed under the working title Snow. Martin will be involved in the series in the same capacity he is with all the Thrones spinoffs. The author said Harrington met with him at his home in Santa Fe and worked with him and his team to hammer out the show's story. Yes, it was Kit Harington who brought the idea to us, George R. Martin said. I cannot tell you the names of the writers and showrunners since that has been not been cleared for release yet, but Kit brought them into his own team, and they are in fact terrific. So, Game of Thrones concluded with Jon Snow's exile from Westeros as he rides into the haunted forest with his direwolf ghost and the wildlings to begin a new life. The series would presumably pick up with Snow's adventures with the wildlings. Since the potential Jon Snow sequel would take place after the final season of Thrones, it's possible that familiar characters such as his half-siblings Arya and Sansa could show their faces. Clark's Daenerys is more of a stretch since her character died, though it's not like Clark is interested in reprising her character. So yeah, Emilia Clarke did say she's done. She's done. She's not going to play Daenerys again. But if they need her for a role, maybe HBO and Warner Brothers will back up that Brinks truck and dump a bunch of cash right in front of her, and maybe she'll say yes to playing Daenerys one more time in a flashback sequence or something of something in some capacity. But listen, this is fascinating to me. One of the things that I talked about last week too was, while they definitely have a ton of different Game of Thrones spinoffs in early development that they have plans for, when you tell me we've got a Jon Snow series in early development, the moment you said Jon Snow, I got to think that this is at the very front of the line of being developed, probably faster and with more attention than any of the other spinoffs that you have planned as of right now. A lot of those which plan are certainly supposed to be, I'm sure, either prequel series like House of the Dragons, or maybe they're individual spin-offs for something like a Sansa or even a Brienne of Tarth spin-off series, which is funny because this past week, Gwendolyn Christie, who played Brienne, actually came out and said that she wouldn't mind reprising her role as Brienne, but she's very much in the mindset now of doing different things with her career. So it feels like Brienne of Tarth, like Gwendolyn's very much like, I wouldn't mind playing her again, but my mind is focused on really doing vastly different things. So she doesn't certainly become just, typecast as that particular type, which I can understand. She's actually going to be in the upcoming Wednesday Addams series on Netflix. So definitely go ahead and support Gwendolyn Christie on that. But if you tell me Kit Harington came to you with this idea that he has a team that he has supporting him in regards to the ideas for this story, and now you've got George R. Martin who's trying to help them navigate and write and put this story together for this series, this goes from potential early questionable development of will this ever be green light and see the light of day to I got to think we're getting this series. I got to think we're getting this series at some point in time. And that fascinates me. The fact that George R. Martin is attached as a writer. Granted, he says there is a showrunner and writer that hasn't been announced as of yet. So he's probably more the eyes and ears, gives his notes. The advisor, if you will, of this series. I could definitely see George R. Martin being involved in that. Even though this guy probably has like a ton of books, he probably should be using his time to go ahead and do so and actually finish some of these books that he started. The fact that Kit came to him, to me, shows that Kit really enjoyed his time on Game of Thrones, truly loves the Jon Snow character, and really feels that there's so much more left on the bone for his story to certainly be told. And there's a part of me that kind of like, look, as happy as I am for Kit Harington, I hope this doesn't take him away fully from his time in the MCU. I don't really know their plans that they have for him when it comes to the Black Knight, certainly going forward. Will he have his own series? Will he be involved in more Marvel series or movies? Who knows? But I hope that he's able to at least do both. But I love the passion of Kit Harington in here, really taking the initiative to go ahead and create a show. And if you can get somebody on board like George R. Martin to would not only approve, but he's like the steward of these characters. So he's definitely the one that's got to approve it. And if George R. Martin loves what he sees, loves the passion of Kit and his team, and thinks his team is pretty solid to bringing this to life, yeah, man. Yeah, man. This is happening, guys. This is happening. So, yeah, I'm kind of curious to know what you guys think in regards to this particular series. If anything, look, I just hope that people really put their season 8 hate away. I feel like people have been harking on Game of Thrones ever since that finale, and have really just butchered this show. And I mean that in the sense of like, just because the landing didn't sit well with some people, or maybe they weren't the biggest fan of how season 8 came about. I mean, I've heard some people talk about the idea of like just not wanting to watch Game of Thrones ever. Like it just ruined it for them that much, forgetting about all the great storytelling that did happen in Game of Thrones, certainly leading up to that point. I'm not one of those people. I actually really enjoyed Game of Thrones series as a whole. Well, I definitely had my own fair issues with season 8. Like one being, I think we could have made this season, that final season, with more episodes. Definitely a lot more I felt certainly could have been explored. It felt a little bit rushed, quickly edited. Some big question marks that I certainly had in regards to like the pacing of this series for the eighth and final season. But I thought it had some really huge and fantastic moments. Like I don't feel the way that people feel about Daenerys' turn, like it came out of nowhere. Like I feel like I've seen it coming. I feel like I've seen it coming, and I think if people actually take the time to rewatch Game of Thrones, I do think that people would see it coming also. It doesn't feel like it was too much of a stretch for that show to end the way that it certainly did. I mean, I get the pushback for some people for some things, but I think at the end of the day, man, I think you got to look at the series overall. And I think overall, it was some of the best storytelling on television for years, especially with a season that has garnered and it's not even the series itself that's garnered a bunch of Emmy nominations, but the final season in and of itself did as well. They had some amazing performances, some great stories. And so one of the things that I'm hoping is that with this new information of Jon Snow getting a potentially getting his own series, I hope people put that season 8 hate away, and just become thrilled about the idea that there's more story to tell. Kit Harington's involved, George R. Martin's involved. So maybe, just maybe, we can get Game of Thrones back to its heights. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, guys, go ahead and certainly let me know your thoughts in regards to Kit Harington creating the Game of Thrones spinoff series. I had no idea it was his idea, but I think that's pretty cool that it certainly is. Pretty cool, I think. Marcelino says, "What are your thoughts on YouTubers making videos where the cast disses on Game of Thrones season 8?" I mean, look, if that's the point of view of the cast and the people that they had on there, then that's cool with me. I'm perfectly more than fine with that. Especially if if the YouTubers are actually using videos of the cast members crapping on season 8. I mean, listen, those are their own words. That's certainly how they felt about it for sure. So I don't have any problem with that. All right, guys. And with that out of the way, we got one more topic that we'll go ahead and break down before we get into your guys' live viewer questions. And that comes in the realm of video games actually being adapted in some way. We have some Super Mario Brothers news for you guys today. As I think there still continues to be some pushback in regards to Chris Pratt doing the voice of Super Mario. Now, I am curious as to where the pushback comes from. Maybe you guys can certainly clarify it for me. I wonder if it's maybe Chris Pratt's own personal life people feel some type of way about, and so maybe they don't want him to get this gig. Maybe the idea of Chris Pratt even voicing Super Mario seems super sacrilegious for some people, especially when you have a very well-known voice actor for Super Mario already. But Chris Pratt is definitely going to be tackling this Super Mario voice, whether we like it or not, unfortunately. And he's in the news today because the producer of the Super Mario movie actually came out and praised Chris Pratt for the work that he's certainly doing. So let's hear not only from the producer, but Chris Pratt himself in regards to what he's trying to bring to the big screen for us as the viewer. So let's go ahead and dive into this. At first, we'll go ahead and tackle what the producer is saying. And that comes to us from comicbook.com, saying the Super Mario movie producer praises Chris Pratt's performance. It says next year, Universal and Illumination Entertainment will release an animated adaptation of Super Mario Brothers. Nintendo revealed the voice cast for the movie last year, with Chris Pratt set to play the mustachioed mascot himself. The movie drew a lot of confusion from longtime Mario fans, including those that wish that Charles Martinet had landed the lead. In the new interview with Variety, the producer spoke highly on Pratt's work on the film, revealing that production is currently 75% complete. Apparently, they have been about 15 recording sessions in total, and they're pretty happy with the results. Illumination, aren't they the ones that have done the Minion movies that have been super successful over the years? That's probably a pretty good group of studios to be connected to for Universal and Illumination for a project like this. The producer himself says, Chris was cast because he felt he could give. Chris was cast because we felt he could give a great performance as Mario. And now that we've done about 15 recording sessions and the movie is 3/4 done, I sit here and say that I love his performance as Mario. It says a live-action Super Mario Bros. Released in theaters in 1993. The movie strayed greatly from the source material, and negative reception pushed Nintendo away from theatrical adaptations on its properties for decades. This time around, the creator, Shigeru Miyamoto, is very hands-on with the Mario adaptation. So even Shigeru Miyamoto is very much involved in this project, and I did not know that. It says, which could bode well for its faithfulness to Nintendo's vision. It could also lead to additional Nintendo adaptations in the future. Fans have wanted to see a Zelda film for quite some time. Hopefully, Pratt's performance proves enjoyable for both longtime fans and casual audiences alike. The actor will be joined also by Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach, Charlie Day as Luigi, Jack Black as Bowser, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, Keegan-Michael Key as Toad, Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong, Kevin Michael Richardson as Kamek, and Sebastian Maniscalco as Spike. Man, I didn't know. I didn't. Well, about half of those names I did not know were attached to it. I think after Fred Armisen, anybody named before Fred Armisen, I knew was attached. But I think they've got a great cast. So the producer loves what he's seen. Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of Mario, is very much also hands-on with this project. And Chris Pratt himself talked a little bit about it, saying his Super Mario Bros. Voice is unlike anything you've heard in the Mario world. Okay, Chris Pratt, what does that mean exactly? It says, there's been internet discussion over Pratt's casting in animated film as the Italian plumber, despite his non-Italian background, with critics expressing concern that his accent could be potentially offensive. Oh, okay, so that would explain the pushback for sure. The producer defended Pratt's casting and vowed that his voice work is phenomenal in his recent interview. This is what Chris Pratt had to say. It says, I worked really closely with the directors and trying out a few things and landed on something that I'm really proud of and can't wait for people to see and hear. It's an animated voiceover narrative. It's not a live action movie. I'm not going to be wearing a plumber suit running all over. I'm providing a voice for an animated character, and it is updated and unlike anything you've heard in the Mario world before. So for me, when I think of this, I don't think we're gonna get Italian Mario here at all. I don't know. I don't know. Look, I think if the pushback is the idea of like, hey, if he's trying to pretend to be an Italian plumber, is he if he tries to push that accent, is that potentially offensive for some people to see an actor trying to act and do an Italian accent? I don't know if that'll offend some people or not. I have no idea. But the fact that he says that he's trying out a few new things, landed on something that he's really proud of, that it's unlike anything we've heard from the Mario world, it does make me wonder, like, is this even going to sound like the traditional Mario that we're certainly used to? I hope that he doesn't necessarily bring the same voice over that he did when he was in the Lego movie as that character, but I am fascinated to see what Chris Pratt can do here, because not only do I think he's a great talent in general, but I've really enjoyed a lot of the voice work that I've certainly seen him in. And I think again, if Shigeru Miyamoto is attached and very hands on to this, I think the idea of them going a different route than just the voice actor, like people would get mad maybe at the producer, people might even get mad at Chris Pratt, but I wonder if people are even mad at Shigeru Miyamoto for allowing somebody else to do the voice of Super Mario other than the man that's been doing the voice for Mario for his franchise for years. Like, I do wonder if fans have put their negativity towards him instead of other places that maybe they've certainly have gone to it. And so, again, there's a part of me that says if he's okay with it, as a fan, I should be okay with it as well. So if they are giving us something new, if they don't want it to just feel like any old other Super Mario content that they've created and really allow it to stand on its own, I think when you've got other fantastic actors that are on board to do voices of these characters too, I think there's might be something special in here that we might get. I mean, look, could this movie bomb? Absolutely. I think they're hoping that the success of something like the Sonic movies have shown that, look, you can do video game movies into whether it be live action movies or animated movies, but clearly putting your own creative spin on things might really go a long way for them. And so I hope that this is successful, at least for Nintendo's point of view, in regards to if Super Mario can be successful, what else can we launch? And I think something like that would really, really go a long way. So, yeah, am I worried? Am I a little concerned? Absolutely. But I trust Chris Pratt in regards to being able to put something great together. And if the producer is loving what he's seen and he has great chemistry with the rest of the cast and it's coming along pretty well in his perspective, again, I don't think you're going to be able to satisfy everybody. But for me, I think my biggest point is if they are making these changes, whether that be to the voice and maybe how we even know Super Mario, if they really are making this animated film to be something different, if the creator of Mario gives the thumbs up for this to be created and he likes what he sees, I'll definitely go ahead and certainly give it a shot more than anything. But I can understand the concern or at least the worry that people definitely have. But I'm interested to see how he brings Mario to life in his best way. Let me see what you guys are saying. Marcelino says people wanted the original voice for Mario to play the role. I could definitely understand that. I could definitely understand that. Datilla says people always want to find things to complain about. I'm sure Chris Pratt will do a wonderful job as Mario. I think he will too. I think he's just got that childlike sensibility at times that he can really tap into doing a lot of voice work for animation. I think he I don't know if he's a big gamer himself or not, but I can see somebody like a Chris Pratt, this being like a joy for him to try and recreate, you know? And so I think he'll be just fine. I think he'll be just fine. Marcelino says also a lot of YouTubers say that it's SJWs who want Chris Pratt gone, but they are closed-minded YouTubers and majority don't share the mindset that these YouTubers are spreading. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind Chris Pratt being in there. I don't mind him doing the role. Enrique says, is the Super Mario movie might release a teaser trailer during the showing Minions: The Rise of Gru in theaters? That's a good question. I don't know. He said it was 75% done. I don't know if that means a teaser or not, but it is also by Illumination. So I don't think this article's. Let me see if the article stated when this movie is set to be released. It doesn't give me a release date for the movie. So I can't tell you either if it is or not, unfortunately, Enrique. Tarek said, Tarek says, Chris Pratt is in everything these days. When I watched Jurassic Park Dominion, a lot of the movie trailers was him. Yeah, man, he definitely gets around. He definitely gets around for sure. So we'll see how it goes, guys. We'll definitely see how it goes, but definitely let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below in regards to Chris Pratt. And with him saying it's something new, unlike anything you've heard in the Mario world before, does that make you worried? Are you curious, or do you think Chris Pratt's got this? Go ahead and certainly let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. And with that out of the way, that will wrap up all of our main topics for today's show, guys. So thank you very much for certainly joining us. And if anything, after today's show, I'll probably go ahead and put in some timestamps for you guys, so you can go ahead and certainly navigate this extremely well if you'd like. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and get into your guys's, and I gotta do Stuart proud by doing this. Now it's time for live viewer questions. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see what we got here, man. Again, for those of you who don't know, I stated this at the top in case you missed it. I did go ahead and record a live viewer question segment late last night to try and do some catch up in regards to getting to everybody's questions. So I don't know how many questions we have today, but I'll certainly try and get through all of them. And then what I'll do is I'll probably go ahead and drop the live viewer questions that I answered for you guys. If not later on today, then definitely tomorrow for you guys to certainly look forward to. So let's see what we got here as we dive into. It looks like Jonathan had a question, but it wasn't for me. It looks like it was for Stuart and them. About James Gunn being the king of DCEU. So I will hold on to that because it looks like they want to get Stewart's perspective on things. What else did I have in here? Okay. Nicole Robertson. Hey y'all, hopes you're doing well. What did you think of the news on social media that Hasbro might already be working on the 30th anniversary of Power Rangers? What do you think of a teaser name Cosmic Fury, and who and what would you like to see in the 30th anniversary celebration? Okay, so if you guys did miss it, I have a whole video up, guys, if you want to go and really get into depth in regards to what I'd like to see for the 30th anniversary. It's got over 2,000 subscribers. You need to add, or 2,000 views. You need to add yourself as one of those views if you have not had the opportunity to check out my thoughts on Cosmic Fury. Yes, the 30th anniversary is currently in pre-production. They have not begun filming as of yet. Filming does not begin until August, late August, if I'm not mistaken. So probably maybe even right after Power Morphicon, or just as Power Morphicon begins. So they're on pre-production right now. The action team, the stunt coordinating team, is putting together their morphing sequences and maybe some fight choreography. And I wouldn't be surprised if they've done casting already, or if they've found any of their people that they're bringing in for new. So yeah, it is in pre-production right now. I kind of like the name Cosmic Fury. Whether or not it's going to be the finale, like the final name, who knows? That can certainly change. But Cosmic Fury is pretty fascinating to me. It kind of implies a couple of things. One, maybe there's some connective tissues to Dino Fury. Maybe like a semi season three, or maybe some, like I said, connective tissues, maybe one or two characters reprising their role to kind of come back. I could be wrong. That's just speculation on my part. When I think of Fury, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. And then Cosmic, of course. And that's Cosmic doesn't necessarily need to be in space, but it could be a plethora of things, a galaxy, a universe, you know. So I kind of dig the idea. I think Q Ranger is probably people's first impression. um, Kara Major has the potential of very much being a cosmic theme. I can easily see that along with Dino Fury. For all we know, maybe it's a little bit of a combination of all three. You know what I mean? But I hope that whatever it is, it holds true to a great 30th anniversary, and I hope we get some great cameos. If anything, for me, I would like to see. If they do adapt Q Ranger, if it is a big team like that, I definitely would love to see them fill that team in with a lot of returning Rangers from very different seasons. I think that would be pretty cool with a brand new, maybe female lead character as the leader of the team. I do expect it to be a smaller season, anywhere between maybe 10 to 12 episodes. And so in that regards, I expect it to also be very much a focused season. No filler episodes. There's certainly no need to tell the story that you definitely want to. You're now on Netflix. I think we're probably bringing back the same creative team that did Dino Fury, especially if filming is going to be in New Zealand. You got your team there. There's no reason to bring in anybody new for that. And so I do think it'll be Simon Bennett, the same writers, but this time with a very focused trajectory. But it could be anything, guys. It honestly could be anything at this point in time. So Q Ranger, Kara Major, and Dino Fury are like my three biggest choices. And whatever we get, I think is going to be rather exciting. So yeah. What else we got? Adrian Perez, with Jonathan Entwistle's announcement of the new showrunner for Power Rangers on Netflix. Does this tell you the franchise is still a priority and that longtime Power Ranger fans can have faith on Hasbro again after the debacle of the fan first Tuesday and last April? Yeah, absolutely. Like I said before, just because it says it's not a priority doesn't mean that it's not still being worked on. It just means that there's more time that it certainly needs to develop, and that there are other things that are perhaps coming out first that need that priority, a la Transformers and a live action Dungeons and Dragons movie that Hasbro and Entertain or Paramount are trying to put together for 2023 release dates. So those feel very much more like a priority than Power Rangers at this moment. But again, I think the news that's been coming out has let us know, hey, they haven't forgotten about us. It is still being worked on very much so. So no need to certainly worry. It's just really a matter of us as fans having some level of patience and understanding. And unfortunately, when it comes to this fandom, we lack both of those from time to time. But yeah, so no, I believe that they are still doing what they have been wanting to do for quite some time. I'm probably gonna completely butcher this name, so I apologize. Um, Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Wait. See, because I feel like I've answered this question already, and this is what I'm talking about when I say things like, um, there's a lot of false accounts on here. You know what I mean? A lot of false accounts sending me questions. It's little things like this that like give it away, because I literally answered this question from somebody else in the live viewer question. What are some movies or TV shows you remember seeing people in the background keep looking at the camera while the actors are performing, right? I answered that question. And so I just go up to this other question here that was just sent in early this morning. What movie have you seen where the background people who aren't extras at all keep looking at the camera or even try not to wave? So yeah, no, I'm gonna have to delete this, man, and keep an eye on some of these accounts. And look, I'm just gonna be honest, man. Look, I appreciate the support, guys, but I got other better things to do than answer fake questions, bro. you know, my life and my time, I want to devote to fans that actually have questions. I don't want to devote time to fake accounts and fake subscribers just so that you feel like, hey, maybe I can get an extra question. And no, bro, you're wasting my time. You're wasting my time. So if you are out there creating new accounts to subscribe to the channel and try and get an upper hand by asking more questions, listen, there are plenty of other people that are real that have questions. I've got time, that things that I've got to do with my time, other than answering somebody's fake accounts questions over and over again. So please stop. You're not doing anybody any favors whatsoever. You're taking away from other people that have questions that they want to answer. You're not the center of the universe. So just think of other people first before you start creating. Like, I appreciate the support, guys. I do, but the fake stuff just don't doesn't cut it. So please stop. Because now it's gonna go to the point of you're gonna have to really be a subscriber to my channel to ask a question. Because if anything, I might just move these live viewer questions over to the community tab, to where the only way you can submit a question is if you are a subscriber, or find some other ways, or just start answering super chat questions once we hit 1,000 subscribers to really answer live viewer questions. So don't ruin it for other people. Don't ruin it for other people. Alexander, what's up, Alexander? I have been rewatching Ninja Storm lately, and I have to say, out of all the seasons, I think it's still one of the best in PR history. The acting to me was the best we've gotten so far out of the season. Even to this day, I think the whole Disney era of Power Rangers was really done well. But something about Ninja Storm, in my opinion, was made it one of the best seasons, if not maybe the best. Really fun to watch. The characters were also chill, and their spots interest, and their sports interest gave them each a life outside of being a ranger, which I think is missing in a lot of seasons in the entire Neo era. I would definitely agree with you there. A few people gave them any credit they deserve, but I think Disney seasons were really among the best too. Definitely agree with you, Alexander. Good old Michael Rhymes. What's up, Michael Rhymes? Appreciate you coming through. Man, more Power Ranger questions, guys. Are you, none of you guys Marvel DC fans? You got no questions about that stuff? What other TV franchises, there we go, besides Power Rangers, do you think has been really bad when it came to the timeline and keeping them intact? And which does better to try and explain to the viewers? What do you, what TV franchise besides Power Rangers do you think has really been really bad when it came to the timeline and keeping things intact? I don't know. Maybe Flash fans. If you guys have been following the Flash, has the Flash ever fucked up on their timeline stuff? I know Barry likes to mess up timelines a ton. um, so I'm not quite sure. One show, I won't necessarily call it a franchise because it was a show, it was a series, but maybe Lost. I felt like the show Lost, for the most part, had a plan in place. ABC wanted more from them, and so then they were forced to create a bunch of filler and stretch out the season longer than it needed to go. And sometimes I do wonder if maybe that added those added courses and navigation and new characters. I wonder if those ever tripped up some of their own storylines or sticking with the timeline and keeping things intact, especially when it comes to Lost, because they do even do some crazy like time travel and shit also, right? So like it feels like if there's any show that probably could have had a hiccup, maybe Lost. But I was a big fan of the Lost series, even though it did start feeling very watered down and trying to figure out what direction the series is going once you get to like season 5 and especially season 6. I personally like the ending of Lost. I personally get it myself, but I know not everybody was a big fan of it. So let's see here. Jared, um, always thought the concept of Kimberly's helmet and the Pink Ranger from Die Ranger were very similar. I'm curious how often Toei associated Pink and White Rangers with birds and felines. Um, I feel like the White Ranger these days have been a lot more associated with like tigers. I'm trying to think because for some reason I think of the white tiger from that Tommy was. A Wild Forces white was a tiger, if I'm not mistaken, or a leopard or some shit. And then we had there was another one I thought. Damn, I thought there was another one that was like a tiger also. I'm trying to think of what Zoosiers did Zoosier have white? I don't think they had white. I can't remember off the top of my head. That's a good question. What did you think when Tommy gave the rest of his Green Ranger powers to Jason? And do you think his shield counts as a precursor to the Battleizer or just a power up? I know we did not get a Battleizer official until Power Ranger in Space. That might have been a precursor. That might have been like hey, maybe we should create something. I wonder if they looked back on that when they went into In Space. Like, I wonder if they ever looked back on that and got sort of um influence from that power up? I am kind of curious about that, Jason. That's a good question. But I always did love that moment, though. I always thought it was a badass seeing the shield on the Red Ranger for sure. Doomsday. Who do you think the director will be for the new MCU Fantastic Four movie? What about the cast? There's a part of me that still wants to see John Krasinski direct it. Now that John Watts is gone, I mean, look, Kevin Feige did mention the idea. I mean, they might bring in a big time director. I heard somebody throw out a theory of they would love to see like Steven Spielberg. I thought that was a pretty cool one. I wouldn't mind seeing the Steven Spielberg MCU film. But I think people have been asking for Emily Blunt and John Krasinski for like the longest time to be Sue and Reed Richards. And after seeing Krasinski in Doctor Strange, there's a part of me that says I gotta think that means that he's gonna be playing Reed Richards going forward. And just based off of the idea that John Krasinski has created, I know he directed the first Quiet Place. I can't remember if he directed the second one or not, but he definitely has directorial chops under his belt. So if anything, I wouldn't mind seeing John Krasinski maybe direct the Fantastic Four film. I would be curious if he would be interested in tackling that as a director and an actor in the movie for a big MCU film. But I think the MCU has such a great formula and a great system in place that I think John Krasinski could really thrive in that environment with the additional help of other people around him at Marvel Studios also. So if I had to pick outside of the cool idea of Steven Spielberg, maybe give me a John Krasinski as a director. As far as the cast goes, man, I don't know. That's a good one, man. I don't know why I've always wanted to see The Rock as the Thing, as like Ben Grimm. I always thought that would be pretty cool to see him in that role. As far as Johnny Storm, give me a Dacre Montgomery from Power Rangers and Stranger Things. I think he would make a great Johnny Storm also. And then John Krasinski and Emily Blunt as Sue. But I don't know if we're gonna get them. Like, granted, in real life, it's great to see a real life couple. Will that transition over to the MCU? Will they pull the trigger on that, or is that too fan servicey? That I don't know. So I don't know who I would want to have as my Sue Storm. If they announce Emily Blunt, I would be completely okay with that. She's a fantastic freaking actor. But yeah, I definitely know who the three I personally would like to see. Just haven't figured out my fourth yet. William, what's up, William? Favorite moments from Revenge of the Sith and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I almost feel like this is another question that I've answered already. Give me a second, guys. I just had somebody ask me a question about I don't know. I'll do some research after this one, but I do believe that this might be another fake account, but I could be wrong. Anyway, William, favorite moments from Revenge of the Sith and Obi-Wan Kenobi. What are the chances that the final test with Obi-Wan where Qui-Gon appeared and whether just a voiceover? Hold on, wait, I'm so confused. What are the chances that of a final test, Obi-Wan um where the special guest appeared and whether just a voiceover or a physical reprisal as a Force ghost? Qui-Gon is one character fans would love to see by Obi-Wan's end. This will finally show Obi-Wan connecting with his old master as he learns how to truly become one with the Force. Well, William, I would definitely say one thing. You sent this earlier this afternoon. I would recommend checking out Obi-Wan to have your questions answered in regards to that final section. So I'm not going to get into it, but I would recommend you watch Obi-Wan Kenobi. What favorite moments from Revenge of the Sith and Obi-Wan? Oh man, Revenge of the Sith was one of my favorites out of the prequels for sure. I definitely love the final act for sure. Getting an opportunity to see Anakin finally embrace the dark side, them marching into the Jedi Temple was fantastic. All the battle sequences in here really were pretty fantastic, and I love the fact that it went a little bit darker, a little bit somber. There's some really great emotional moments in Revenge of the Sith. Like one of my favorite scenes is just before Anakin, Anakin reveals to Mace Windu, like he's got the great scene with the Emperor where they're in the Emperor's quarters or this, senator, the senator's quarters, and the senator reveals himself to Anakin. Palpatine reveals himself as a Sith Lord, or that he's been training in the dark arts, right? And we get Anakin that leaves and he runs and he tells Mace Windu, and Mace tells him, "Stay here. We're gonna go ahead and take care of it." Right? I love this shot when Obi-Wan is left to his own, not Obi-Wan, that Anakin is left to his own thoughts and devices. And you can see the emotional struggle that he's dealing with of wanting to save Padme. And there's a great sequence where it's just the sun setting. It's just Anakin in the Jedi Council throne room by himself. And he's just looking out the window, seemingly, I would assume, towards his apartment or where he lives, where Padme's at. And then it goes to Padme's point of view as she's looking at the temple also, almost like these two are connecting and thinking about each other, and Anakin really weighing the decision of, do I protect Palpatine at all costs because he feels he can save the woman that I love. And I loved Hayden's performance in there of just seeing the thought process and then his resolve just crumble, and he kind of comes to tears in regards to realizing what it is that he has to do. And he's I think he understands what the pain that it's about to cause. It's just something great about seeing the parallels between Padme and Anakin in that moment, and her sort of feeling kind of heartbroken or concerned to herself, like she can almost feel what Anakin was feeling. And so I that's one of my favorite scenes out of it. And then, I mean, like I can go on and on about Revenge of the Sith. As far as favorite scenes with Obi-Wan, definitely the showdowns with Vader are certainly captivating. And I really like scenes of Obi-Wan, believe it or not, just being very expressive with his thoughts. While there's a part of me that wishes Obi-Wan Kenobi series had more dialogue to really sink our teeth into. I think one of the great things about this series was Ewan McGregor's performance, to where you almost did not even need dialogue to understand the thought processes and the emotions and the experiences that Obi-Wan was feeling at those moments. And Ewan McGregor just did a fantastic job, man. So some great stuff. Again, I would definitely recommend you guys check out this series if you have not done so as of yet. Um, um, Let me see. Superman. I did answer the question for you, Marcelino, in regards to Superman. In the live viewer question, that's why I stated I did answer your questions. But you said you did think that Indy and Stewart were going to be here. If you want, I'll go ahead and hold on to these for you. Um, Marcelino says, "Hey Adam, just some recommendations for cartoons for your son to watch as he grows up. Adventure Time, Steven Universe, Samurai Jack seasons 1 through 4, Star versus the Forces of Evil, We Bear Bears, Gravity Falls. Oh my goodness, you got a whole entire list of these things. Transformers Prime, Beast Wars, the original Ben 10 cartoon, Secret Saturdays, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Danny Phantom, Jake Long, Dexter's Laboratory, Kim Possible, Scooby Doo Mysteries Incorporated, Phineas and Ferb, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012, The Owl House, The Looney Tunes Show, The Regular Show. You can watch those on various streaming services. All of them are age appropriate. And the best part is that these cartoons can be enjoyed by both kids and adults. I hear just as many adult fans across the world, especially when it comes to products that are part of big franchises like Netflix's She-Ra, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, Transformers Prime, and Ninja Turtles, where I hear hardcore fans who have been around since the birth of these franchises say they're the best things out of for their respective franchises. Well, thank you for the heads up, Marcelino. I'll definitely keep that in mind because I'm always looking for stuff to watch with my boy. Louise, what's up, Louise? I feel like I haven't heard from you in a minute, Louise. Have you heard of Christian Bale stating that he hasn't watched the Batman film yet, but he is looking forward to seeing Robert Pattinson's portrayal and is already proud of him for being the new Batman? What do you think of Ben Affleck getting a new suit as Batman in a prequel comic? To answer your second question first, I mean that'd be pretty cool. I haven't read the prequel comic, so I don't know, is the prequel comic a real thing, or is that something that you personally would like to see, Louise? But if he does get a new suit in the prequel comics, that's pretty cool too, to kind of see where Ben Affleck's Batman began and where he ended up with. That's pretty cool. But I have heard that Christian Bale has not watched his or has not watched the Batman film yet. For a second, I read that as he hasn't watched his own Batman films, and a part of me was going to be like, I can kind of believe that, just because I feel like some actors don't really like to see themselves on screen. I know Adam Driver, who played Kylo Ren, has a really difficult time watching himself on screen and going back and revisiting anything that he's watched. But Christian Bale, not having seen the Batman movie yet, I mean, look, I understand. I mean, I'm sure that they are certainly extremely busy with creating stuff of their own. Maybe they don't get the chance to go out to the movies as much as they do. Maybe Ben Affleck, maybe Christian Bale's not into sort of comic book movies like we certainly are as viewers, that has to see like the newest thing that drops all the time, you know what I mean? But I get, because of the fact that he's connected to the Batman, you would think that maybe he would certainly check it out for himself. But I just feel like they probably live in their own sort of bubble. He's done his time as Batman. He's probably moved on to other things, filming for Thor Love and Thunder, really focusing on that. So it doesn't surprise me that he hasn't gotten around to checking out the Batman, but I'm sure he probably will in time. I think Christian Bale is probably going to have nothing but great things to certainly say about it. And then last but not least, we got Ashley Montoya here. What do you think of James Gunn teasing the return of Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn in the DCEU? And what are your thoughts on Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn? Do you consider her the DCEU Irwin of Deadpool? I'm assuming you meant, do you consider her the DCEU version of Deadpool? I think is what you meant to say. So yeah, I did hear and actually see a tweet from James Gunn kind of teasing the idea that his next project might be Harley Quinn related. And if I could be honest with you, I love the sound of it. I love the sound of it. I was really a big fan of what he wound up doing with Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad movie. Look, I've been a fan of Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn in general, whether it be the first Suicide Squad movie, even in her own Birds of Prey, and now in the Suicide Squad. I think James Gunn just has that type of humor. And I think he really let Margot Robbie shine in the Suicide Squad. I think she had a blast filming with him. And so I would not be surprised if they are open to working together again. And I almost feel like this is a perfect opportunity to bring Poison Ivy to life. If there's anybody that I want to see kind of handle Poison Ivy now, it probably would be James Gunn, based off of what he did with some of the characters from the Suicide Squad, being able to take characters that, not to say that not many people know of when it comes to Poison Ivy, but maybe it hasn't been utilized in quite some time, and making them relevant when it comes to live action. You look at something like Peacemaker, you even look at something like the Harley Quinn animated series. I think James Gunn has the sensibilities of kind of bringing that perfect combination of the animated series and live action to life, with maybe a live action Harley Quinn series. I would love to see that, whether it be a solo film, or, well, I don't know if I want to get a solo film, since we just had her in Birds of Prey. But if it is in fact a film or series and is directed by James Gunn, I'll be there for it. I'll be there for it, because I do think that he understands the Harley Quinn character extremely well. There's a great scene in here where Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad movie, she tries to woo over the dictator that's captured them, or imprisoned them, if you will. And she just plays up the role so incredibly well to go ahead and get close to him. And before we know it, like, slices his throat, I think, or like just kills the man. And just hearing her explanation as to why she had to do it, despite the fact that he's so handsome, and she loved having sex with the dude, right? Like, there is this the crazy, there's still the crazy in Harley Quinn. And I think James Gunn really showcased that in the Suicide Squad. So if it is Harley Quinn that he's focusing on, I'm very much open to seeing what he can do for her. Do I consider her the version, the DCEU version of Deadpool? Probably the closest that we have. Maybe Peacemaker has gotten that. Uh, maybe Peacemaker at this point has gotten that moniker now, just because of how, like, I mean, this, anything comes out of this dude's mouth, you know what I'm saying? It's hilarious, offensive. I feel like maybe Peacemaker might have that, but Harley Quinn's definitely not too far off either. But yeah, so Marcelino, I will hold on to your question for Stuart along with Indy for them to answer. I answered it also in my other questions, for that'll drop later on this week. And then Jonathan also has an email that I'll leave for Stuart and Indy as well. So other than that, we're caught up to all of our live viewer questions, guys. So again, with live viewer questions going forward, one email a week, one question. So make it good, ladies and gentlemen. Make it count. I will go ahead and jump into some live viewer questions, though, or comments, just to see what some of you guys are saying. I'll try and start all the way up from the top if it lets me, and scroll my way through. Okay, I know Kurt asked about my thoughts on Cosmic Fury. I think I answered those. I at least answered that in the live viewer questions section. Carter says, "What was it like taking a picture with Jason, the original Red Ranger?" It was pretty fun. I mean, he seems like a pretty cool guy. It seemed like he was trying to be incognito. You know, he wasn't at his table signing autographs at the time when I was walking on the showroom floor. I think I saw him walking, also maybe checking out some tables. I don't know if I made brief eye contact with him and he tried to stay hidden and like turned his head real quick. I don't know. But I remember I was like, is that Austin? Like, nobody else was coming up to him. I just remember thinking to myself, is that Austin? And I looked and it was definitely him. And I'm like, Mr. St. John? And he turns around. I was like, hey, what's going on? How are you? You know, and I introduced myself and stuff. And I was like, hey, I remember interviewing you back in 2014. It was such a long time ago. I don't expect you to remember who I am, but I just wanted to say hello and see how you've been doing and how you're enjoying your convention. And he's like, oh, I'm really enjoying it. He mentioned that there was another gentleman he was walking to their booth to talk to. It was a friend of his that created a comic book that apparently Austin St. John wrote. And so he had one of his stories picked up, and they wind up creating it into a comic book. I can't remember the name of it, but I think he was going to go ahead and sit and talk with him a little bit. So I didn't want to take up too much of his time. I politely asked him if we could please take a selfie or a photo together, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And yeah, we took a photo together. So again, despite the legal drama and issues that Austin St. John might have, listen, at the end of the day, we certainly are just everyday people. And just from first impressions and the way that he's treated me as a person, seems like a pretty cool guy. I don't know what else certainly goes on in his own personal life or whatever else he's got going on behind the scenes, but face to face, cool dude, man. Cool dude. Datilla says, I still want to hear Chris Hemsworth's Hulk Hogan voice, brother. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll see it. Maybe we'll hear it eventually one day. I hope that movie happens. I do hope it happens. Adam Perez says, my twin's fro keeps growing every week. Yeah, I'm just going to keep the top growing here. If anything, I'll keep fading the sides every few weeks if I can continue to remember to do so. Tarek Mofo Knight says, please bring back Simon. I'm assuming Simon Bennett in regards to as the showrunner for upcoming season of Power Rangers. He says, I hope Simon comes back or whoever. They bring back full morph sequences and a brief reference for past Rangers. Beckett and Alwyn amazing at Dino Fury, but they missed on team ups Nickelodeon. And I will say this, I think the idea of them now fully being a part of Netflix, I expect the same type of energy from them that they put into Dino Fury, but maybe even this time a little bit of a step up, knowing that you really don't now that they're on Netflix, have a little bit, maybe a little bit more creative control. Datilla says, I'll be submitting super chats once you get them. Oh, thank you, Datilla. I appreciate you wanting to support the channel in that way. Yeah, usually I feel like with super chats, those usually get brought up immediately, like super chats for me are definitely worthy of interrupting whatever topic or show or series we're talking about to talk about a question or a comment, especially if people are financially putting supporting the channel in that way. So I do think once we become eligible for super chats will probably play a role in the sense of like if you do have a comment that you have to say and you really want it to be brought up, um, those will probably interfere with or interrupt whatever we're certainly talking about for sure to give you guys the time. Tarek also says, for season 5 of Cobra Kai with Miguel looking for his real father, who do you think will play him? Oh, that's a good question. I was going to say, who is the guy? I don't know why. There's a guy that played Deathstroke in Titans. Titans Deathstroke actor. Issei Morales. I don't know why I think Issei Morales for some reason as as Jolo Maraduena's dad, as Miguel's dad. Maybe him. I don't know. Maybe it'd be somebody else. Tarek says, I also wonder if season 5 of Cobra Kai was written right where Zolo got his role for Blue Beetle. Yeah, I mean, with him being off looking for his dad, I do wonder if that is a way for them to allow him to have time away to film for Blue Beetle. Like, I wonder how much of a presence Jolo has in season 5. That would be my next big question. Marcelino says, fun fact, in the DC Comics, there is a Deadpool knockoff named Red Tool, who was Harley Quinn's past lover. That's so fun. That's a great name, Red Tool. I bet he was a tool. Marcelino says James Gunn should direct the Gotham City Sirens movie. That would I'd be down for that. I'd definitely be down for that. Datilla says, did you ever end up meeting any wrestlers that were there at Fan Expo Dallas? No, I never got a chance to meet any of the wrestlers that were there. They were kind of incognito. Like they had a whole section up there where, they had lines where you could form to go ahead and like get their autographs. But I feel like every time I walked past their booth, they were just gone. They were just not at their booths. I feel like most of the time they probably did a bunch of like photo op opportunities. Maybe I feel like maybe all weekend that's all they ended up doing. There were brief moments where when I was by the autograph section, I did see two people, but I didn't get the chance to meet them. Matt Riddle, I did get the opportunity to see Matt Riddle, and AJ Styles. They were at least at their table for a short period of time. Tarek says, what days will you be attending Power Morphicon? I haven't even gotten my tickets yet, man. I don't know. With inflation, gas prices, flight prices rising, it's getting, I'm still questioning whether or not, am I going to go? Do I really want to make this happen? I got to figure that out pretty soon. But I don't know when I'm going to be attending Power Morphicon. But we'll see. It's in middle or late August. It'll be here before I know it, though. But I really want to go because the Captain Marvel is honestly is one of my favorite reasons. And really being able to get the opportunity to meet everybody and see everybody there, because I haven't been to a Power Morphicon in like 8 years. It's been a while. So I do want to attend. I do want to try to go. What do you think of Chris Hemsworth butt being 10 years in the making since the first Thor? Yeah, I keep reading articles saying that like Chris Hemsworth was saying that's a dream come true to show his ass off in Thor Love and Thunder. I'm assuming maybe we get a buttock scene. Are they going to blur it out? I'm kind of curious. I don't know. I mean, hey, to each their own. Datilla, August 26th through the 28th. So yeah, that makes me curious. Like, I would say, if anything, come August 26th and 28th, see what Dino Fury Rangers are not there. And I think whatever Dino Fury Rangers are not at Power Morphicon, they're returning for Cosmic Fury. I wouldn't be surprised if they're off filming somewhere if they're not able to be at Power Morphicon. But that's just my own speculation. Tarek says, what is a super chat? A super chat is pretty much support the channel financially. So the idea is like similar how you're typing in comments. You can add financial support to the channel. $5, $10, whatever the case may be. I think it's also based off of how long of the question is. Also, I think if you use like more characters, financially it's more. It keeps rising, sort of thing. So you might get it just depends. It just really depends. Right now, Tarek says only Hunter, Chance, and Campbell are attending. So we'll see. I think I have my eyes on Zato and Ion. I will be curious if Jordan Fight and Russell Curry return. If I had to guess, that would probably be my returning Dino Fury characters, if any. But that will do it for our live viewer questions, guys. And remember, if you do have any live viewer questions in the future, A+ opinions, 1 email a week, 1 question a week. So please certainly make it good. And if anything, I'll talk with the fellas and see if we want to change how we do our live viewer questions in regards to leaving it solely to posting, like making a post on our community tab or even on our Discord forum. And having you guys leave your questions on that particular post at the community tab. So we definitely will work our way through it for sure. But other than that, guys, I think that's going to do it here for today's show. Thank you very much to everybody that definitely joined me, even though this was a solo dolo episode. If anything, hopefully we'll have the rest of the cast back later on this week. And if Indy or Stuart are able to, maybe they'll do something midweek, but we'll definitely keep you guys posted. But other than that, if we don't see you guys this week, if anything, again, an Obi-Wan Kenobi series review dropping live Monday evening at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Check us out then. We also have a Miss Marvel review dropping for you guys, episode number 4, Thursday morning. So definitely go ahead and check that out, and we'll certainly see you back here for another live episode of A Plus Hero Reports. Other than that, we appreciate it, guys, and we'll certainly see you later. But until then, do us a big favor, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A plus. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.